I will tell you the great story.
I was in the getaway vehicle, actually.
Yeah, I was in the getaway vehicle.
Bag of money.
Might be episode 11 or something like that. Back into my side, we're here with Abigail Fallin, and as far as I know, you're a corrections officer at.
Yes.
Pretty fucking interesting. I can only imagine, just your day-to-day operations have got to be pretty interesting.
For the most part, sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm sure that there's probably days where nothing's going on, but those are probably the days you appreciate the most.
Yeah, it's a 5% job is what we call it.
Really?
Like 95% of the time, nothing's going on, but that 5%, when it goes, it goes.
It probably makes up for all of that downtime.
Yes.
And I would imagine, I don't know, I've never been on that side of it, but just kind of just waiting for something to happen almost. 'Cause you have to always be ready.
Yeah.
And you only have split seconds, to actually react into whether you're saving somebody or, stopping somebody from hurting somebody. I could only imagine, you're just always on edge.
Yes.
Too much about it. But I am interested just because, obviously, as a female, you got to have a little bit of a different perspective. Is it fucking scary to be in there? Because you're not just on a female unit, right?
Yeah, no, I work both male and female. Mostly male is what I work.
Right, and I would imagine that's probably the case with most situations, most prisons and stuff like that. It's a pretty male-dominated situation.
Yeah.
I guess other than all female prisons, but yeah, I could imagine just the normal uproar. Now, without getting into too much of my idiotic childhood, I've been in county jails before, and they have no respect to the COs in most cases, and if it was a woman in there, it seems to be they're a little bit more fucking enticing, and a little bit more disrespectful to the female COs for some reason.
Not, I haven't experienced that.
You might be in a good place.
Yeah. Mostly with the guys that we got in, they don't. I think they might respect the females a little bit more than they do the guys.
Really?
Yeah. They don't really fuck around. If an inmate would get snappy with me, they're gonna snap back at the other inmate for snapping at me. So it's kind of nice.
That's cool though, because again, you would think, you're in a more male-dominated situation that it would be harder for you, but I actually like to hear that they actually would probably maybe stand up for you more often than they would for a male CO.
Yeah, I've had an inmate snap back at another CO who snapped at me, and so
wow.
Yeah, they're pretty chill for the most part. I kind of like it because I don't want to deal with it.
That's good because again, I would think being a female in that situation, I would be fearful. Like I said, I know that there's maybe not many instances where you're maybe alone with an inmate or multiple inmates, but I would be worried even if I was a male inmate, I think in some situations. Now granted, some prisons are probably worse than others.
Yeah.
But yeah, how was that? You obviously had to decide at some point you were going to try to do that. What made you decide to start working there?
I have no idea. It was not on my radar of anything.
I have a question. Do you have to go to school?
To be a corrections officer, no, but I am in school.
You can leave that on even. It's not going to fuck up anything. But yeah, so again, I would have assumed you maybe either have to have a police background or something like that. So
it definitely helps if you have a background in it,
and
that will help you get hired. And there's certain higher up jobs where they want you to have a degree. They have, we have our own counselors too, and they would like you to have a degree for that if you want to get into it too. So.
Well, you would think obviously they should be encouraging you to have a better understanding of the whole process.
Yeah, I feel like they should because we've hired some doozies.
Wait, you what?
We've hired some doozies.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, hired some of them. I'm
well, yeah. Let's even start with that. So, obviously, we're keeping everybody nameless. We're respecting anybody that may be involved in these situations, but it's not for everybody, you know. And you might think that you're a badass, tough guy. I don't know, what kind of applicants you normally get, but I would imagine if I was thinking I was going to be a CO, I would maybe have to think I was a little bit of a tough guy. Maybe I wanted to rule on people, So, I bet you people get a real harsh wake-up call going in there and thinking that they're going to be this tough, badass CO, and then...
Yeah, I can't stand ones that act like that. They make my head hurt. Because then they make it hell on all of us. Because, like, some of them will want to entice the inmates, and it's like, why do you got to get them riled up? Like, why do you got to start something with them? Because now I have to go in and deal with it.
Right. Well, it's like, I get that you're in an authoritarian position. That is your job by definition.
But you don't have to
abuse it.
Yeah,
like it's the people that were low before that now that they have a higher position, they're like, okay, now it's time to make you feel low, like I felt low.
Yeah, that's wrong.
And see, unfortunately, that can happen. I mean, outside of a correction situation, it could be in any job.
That's any job.
It's like, if somebody gets a little taste of power and feels like they got a little more control over somebody else, and it's like, do you really got to, like, pull that chain all day? Like, I get it. I mean, you're this and I'm that. Like, mutual respect goes so far.
And you know how bad it felt. So, like, why would you want to make someone else feel that bad?
Yeah.
Well, and I would argue, too, I mean, most of these people that are probably in that situation maybe have not been on the other side of it. Have you ever been in jail?
No.
No. So granted, I've said this about judges, too, like, judges that sit up there and can send people away for years and years and years. It's like, well, do you really know what that does to somebody?
Yeah. I think it benefits you if you have at least a background in, like, I've never personally been to jail, or I probably wouldn't have been hired.
And we're not encouraging it.
Yeah.
But
I've had, like, my dad was in and out of jail. I remember visiting my dad in the state prison up in Erie. So, like, I know what not on his side of things, but I've heard stories.
Well, and most of us probably know somebody, and it's easy to write it off like, idiot, yeah, it's what he deserved, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, people make mistakes, and at the same time, you don't realize that, like, going into that situation could either break somebody or make them, essentially down the wrong path. I mean, it could essentially start something, that might not have never happened before. Well, it's like, one situation, could change your whole life. If you go into a situation to where, like, I messed up, now I'm in county jail, but now I got this guy just, like, authoritarian over me all the time. Like, that's going to make me resentful to police, to cops. But if I went in there and they treated me with respect and understood that, like, hey, maybe I just made a mistake. Maybe I'm not a piece of shit criminal. Maybe I'm not the worst person ever. And I'm going to get out of here and this isn't going to affect the rest of my life. Like, I would probably have a different perception of cops and jail and things.
Yeah.
So I think that the position that you're in, you have the option to change somebody's perspective of where they're at and maybe where they're going afterwards.
Yeah. And I mean, unfortunately, it's one thing where you can sit down and talk to the guys that are in there, and some of them are going to get it, or they're going to act like they get it, but they don't. Like, I've only been there 2 years, and I've seen a lot come back over the 2 years. Yeah. So it's but also we don't. I mean, there's places around here that help out a lot, but I feel like we could be doing more. But
well, we talk about this.
Can't.
We talk about this a lot. I think that a big problem that people have is the lack of resources.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, I don't give a shit. Any county official can come sit here and talk to us and tell us what resources that we're not aware of or that are in place. But you look at the numbers, you're in direct line of fire as far as being able to see what's working and what's not,
Yeah.
So it's like, well, maybe people are just not aware of the resources, or maybe they're just not available to them, because I know a lot of people that have tried to get the right help and go through the right steps and have been denied, or maybe, you know what I mean? Like, it just, maybe even the person that they went to get help from was so judgmental of them and their situation that they didn't even want the help.
Yeah.
So,
and it's trial and error, because not one certain thing is going to work for everybody. So it's a lot of different things that play into that too.
Yeah, I think more openness, more open-mindedness, more respect, again, goes a long way. Because, again, if I feel like you actually care about my future or maybe where I'm going to be, like, I'm going to be more receptive to what you're saying, instead of, like, if I wake up every day and your only job is to make me aware that I'm a piece of shit and you're awesome and you're the best. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right, that too. Because, I mean, like, I've been in county jail a couple times, and same thing. Like, they know the repeaters, like, yeah, you'll get out, you'll be back. It's like, well, that makes me feel like I'm a nobody, like I'm never going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, I might be the kind of person to say, fuck you, I'll prove you wrong, but other people will believe what you're telling them.
Yeah, and just continue the cycle.
Right, they get out and they think, wow, that's, probably right.
Yeah, this is my life now, so I'll just keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle. I mean, you're in a good position to at least be able to maybe give people a little bit of hope, a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, because, again, the way you talk to people and the way you treat people goes such a long way. And I don't care if, like I said, you're, dealing with inmates or customers in the drive-through.
Just any human being in general. It's like, just treat them with respect. It's one
Yeah.
of the big things is I try and treat them with respect, because then I get it back, and it makes my job easy. It makes their life a little easier. I can't control the next person on the block though who comes in.
Well, and I like too that maybe you think about like, well, I'm walking in here, I don't want to be here. This is my job. I had a shit morning. I didn't get enough sleep. Imagine having to sleep in that place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, imagine not being able to go home and sleep in your bed, and
Yeah.
complain about how, you didn't get enough sleep.
Yeah, or at least we get to leave at the end of the day. They don't.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of people say, wow, they put themselves there. That's what they deserve. Nah. But at the end of the day, it's like, they're stuck in that situation, and like, you could choose to either make their situation worse or you can make it better.
Yeah.
Like, are you carrying the weight of your frustrations in there and taking it out on them to feel better, or are you maybe acknowledging the fact that like nobody's in a situation that maybe they're perfectly happy or perfectly okay? Like, you have to just make the best of what the situation is. Like I said, you could go in there and make their day better, but at the same time, they could make your day better. There might be days you walk in there and you're feeling like shit, the last place you want to be, and maybe they changed their mind.
Oh, there's been plenty of days where that has happened. I'll be like, I don't want to be here today. And then I'll walk in and one of them will stop yapping. I was like, all right, day's made, thanks.
Yeah,
awesome.
And it might just be cracking a joke or saying something, like,
yep.
And there it's somebody that, I don't know anybody's situation. Could be a fucking serial armed robber, but he said, hey, I hope you have a good day. Like, change your whole mind.
At least somebody cares.
Right. It's just the perspective. Yeah, he has every reason in the world to be a jerk and be an asshole and, be dismissive of you. You're the reason he's in there. You're the one who locks the door every time you walk out.
Yep.
But he has enough respect for you, and he maybe even noticed that you're not your normal chipper self and just made you feel a little bit better. It's like, somebody that society would write off 10 days out of the week, would actually take the time to make you feel better.
Yeah.
So it's not always, as plain, black and white, and I like that, because, it doesn't matter who you are. You can still be a good person even if you've made mistakes. There's people serving life in prison that would probably be the first person to help you out.
Yep. Yep.
It's a weird world we live in, and I don't always believe in incarceration either, but I think, again, there's other resources available that maybe that's not always the right answer.
Yeah.
Not everybody deserves to be locked up for
I
everything.
feel like we should have different levels. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
one prison for this crime, another prison for this crime. We shouldn't have everybody on different levels of the spectrum all just crammed in one.
That is
big
weird.
place.
Yeah, and that rehabilitation isn't
Exactly.
always the answer.
Like, how
Yeah,
are you gonna
no.
have someone in there for drunk driving with like a manslaughter, like a murderer? Like,
right.
what are you gonna do? Like,
Well,
because
now
one can be
obviously
more
there's tiers of
aggressive.
prison. Like, there's maximum security and all that for people that are really violent and dangerous offenders. But if we're talking county level, you're right. Everybody's essentially general population.
Yeah.
2 years.
Yep. So,
Exactly.
yeah, we just get thrown in all different types of crimes in at once.
Right.
So.
So, forgive me. Something else.
Yeah, if you serve a day over 2 years, they
But-
have to send you upstate.
Yep.
Okay.
That's what doesn't make any sense, is that where you stay and who you're with is determined just on the duration of time that your sentence holds. You know what I mean? Like, if it's less than 2 years, no matter what you did, you're with these people.
Yep.
Yeah.
There maybe should be
I
some.
mean, yeah, we try. We do try to split them up as best we can, but it doesn't always work out. Some don't get along with somebody else, and then we have to move them. And it's,
Well, the problem is sometimes you don't know until something happens.
Yeah, until something happens. Most of them are pretty good.
Yeah, because
So
it is.
they'll be like, "Hey, I know so and so's in here. Wherever they're at, please don't put me in." And we're like, "Cool, awesome, thanks for letting us know." Like, I'll ask them if I ever book anyone.
Right.
I'm like, "Where can I put you?" And they're like, "Don't put me with this person." Got
But
it.
at the same time, not everybody's gonna have that courtesy.
Yeah,
You'd be
no.
Like, you're just a number.
Isolation.
So.
Oh, yeah, exactly. At that point.
That's where I'd rather be. By myself, give me a book or a piece of paper and a pencil. I'll be fine. I could do 50 years.
Yeah.
With a piece of paper and a pencil, I'll just draw the whole time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'd be
And
fine.
even, like, we can dumb it down as much
Yeah.
as we need.
Yeah, I think that
we'll make it work.
Yeah.
I think that there probably could be, more light shed on that. I think that, which again, most people, if you're not a violent offender, you can coexist with the rest of them, but it is an unnatural situation. I mean, to have so many people
it's
just in a
definitely
confined
weird.
space.
I'm not a fan of it. I would like them separated by but also there's not room to do that in a county jail either, unfortunately.
Well, that's
because some county jails are bigger, but some of we're
ultimate.
pretty small for El County.
Yeah, so. It all comes down to money, budget. What you can afford to house, essentially. I used to know the stat of what it actually costs to house one person for I don't know what it was, annually or something like that.
23. What's your fine?
I don't know, because just as far as because you're providing, shelter, food, drink. I mean, probably medicine if they need it.
Yep.
Healthcare, whatever they need, transportation. There's a number that it costs the state to house 1 minute. And that's essentially how they have to figure out what their budget is and all this stuff. But yeah, I mean, what prison is really getting any kind of expansion, and I don't even know if I would advocate for that. What, do you want to make the prison bigger? Yeah, so you can arrest more people? Yeah. It's easy to, to dismiss that. So, it's realistically, but these people, even the jails themselves, the county, the COs, they're all probably understaffed, underbody. You know what I mean? It's just you have very little resources to be able to take care of and house and have enough protection for them. Because you have to obviously a bunch of stuff in place for the what if, which is another.
$18,250 per year, and this is Venango County. That's just
Yeah, and I was just thinking just generally, but they are $20,000 a year for one person. And it's so you think about even if you have a couple hundred inmates, it's oh my God, that's a lot of money just to be able to house these people and take care of them.
And then you gotta pay the employees that are taking care of them in the first place.
Well, and it's I've talked to so many people that have, been locked up, and it's they talk about food proportions is the only thing that people care about. I've talked to so many people that have been in jail, and they're oh my God, they're starving us. It's well, that's you talk about cost. You got to pay every single employee.
Yeah, and then you also have to think of it as there's not a whole lot you can do in jail. You can't go. I mean, yeah, you can exercise, but not everyone's gonna take that initiative. So we're also trying to keep you in the best shape that we physically can without ruining your health at the same time while you're in there.
Yeah, because what would happen if you just loading them up with quarter pounders and shit, right?
Yeah, it's your health's not going to be great.
Boy, wouldn't that be fun? Okay, so you're going to be sentenced to jail. Okay, you're going to be there for 9 months. We're going to create an obese version of you, and then you're going to be sentenced to months and months and months of fat camp, and then you're going to have to work all that off and become healthy and skinny again. That's the new system. We're going to make you fat, and then we're going to make you skinny and healthy.
Yeah, sorry. People coming out of prison fat, they come out jacked, all ripped and shit,
But again, not everybody's going to take that initiative, though. Very few people are going to say, well, you know what, I'm here, and I'm here against my will. Now I'm going to better myself. Most people don't even think about doing that and bettering themselves when they get out, let alone taking initiative for their health while they're in there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Obviously, most counties are probably different, but there probably is a nutritional. I don't know. They have to give you so much.
Yeah, we follow. I don't know what it is because I don't work in the kitchen, but I know we do have to follow something at least.
Well, I would think that the state would probably be required to only give them so much.
Yeah, it's kind of when you're in school and they can only give you certain stuff. Yeah.
They can't create an unhealthy food environment for you. So I mean, but then obviously you look into they can get commissary and stuff like that. There's a bunch of stuff, but even that's probably deeply restricted. I would imagine they probably restrict the menu to certain things that you just can't.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. If I'm sitting, maybe if you're doing more than a couple years, you can get a box of ho-hos. You can get get some birthday cake. I don't know. There's a whole slew of stuff that's available in commissary. Great stuff. Make a chi-chi. I don't know.
Yes.
Why is it illegal to share food? This is what I want to understand. Because in there, right, you're not allowed to share anything, right?
I mean,
what's the psychology behind that, I wonder? You'd think they'd be more friendly if I could give you a biscuit, but maybe.
No, I mean, the guys we have, they trade stuff all the time.
Not a big deal?
No. As long as we don't see anything going on. You just have to watch them. Because obviously, their job as an inmate is let me do things that are gonna get me in trouble.
Right.
So now let me watch you just got to be super vigilant and watch what they're
Right.
doing. So
Nothing
Yeah.
illegal.
yeah, nothing illegal going on. Hopefully.
That's the problem, because just trading a honey bun could be a whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Might be a gambling fucking ring going on here. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, you got to be careful. Oh man, man, day to day has got to be interesting. Though, do you work day or night?
I just went full time. I was part time. So part time there, I was working first, second, third, and then we have a split shift of noon to 8. I just went full time. I'm predominantly third shift with 1 day shift a week.
So is that at nighttime, third
Yep.
shift? Okay,
Yep.
so everybody's asleep for the most part. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so like, see, that would be where I would have to excel. I mean, I'm kind of antisocial, and again, I'm a little bit fearful about like the rowdiness of the whole thing, because
Yeah.
like whenever I was in that kind of situation, it was like a dorm situation to where like one block, the cells didn't even have doors or nothing like that. It was like a mutual space. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Our bathroom was even a mutual bathroom, so like we weren't even locked down at night. Just the block was. So like that, you know, I could handle doing like rounds, like feeling like security.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be in like I know at first thing in the morning, everybody riled up, TV's on now, and like pure chaos in there. Like I'm like, man, walking into a block like that where everybody's fucking rowdy and shit, like I would not want to be the CO in that situation. Like it would, my anxiety would be through the roof. Just like, am I gonna get attacked? Am I like,
Yeah.
riots
they're,
popping off?
Yeah, they're a little rowdy, but you can tell when they're just being rowdy because they're freaking bored or.
Well, you've built a rapport now. You know
Yeah.
some of these, like I said, you know their mannerisms and stuff. But day one, I'd be terrified. You know, like I'm like, oh my god, who are these people? You know, and maybe that's even some of the scariest part. You know who some of these people are. Like as far as on paper, you know why they're there.
Yeah.
You know,
I try not to read what they come in for.
Really?
I don't.
That's probably smart.
I don't want to know sometimes. You know.
That's probably smart.
Outside, like we see them at Sheets, or if
Oh.
we see them at the bar.
Yeah, I've known a couple of people. I've
That's
worked
a
with them.
different
I used
element.
to be some of their bosses at my old job.
Really?
Yeah.
How weird would that be?
Yeah, I'm like, look at that. I went from being your boss to now just another boss of you.
I was in a county jail for a little bit, and one of the COs was somebody I went to high school with, and I was like, "Oh, that's fucking weird."
Yeah.
Like, boy, we went different ways, didn't we? You know, like, shit.
You chose this way, I chose this way. Got it.
Shout out, Ryan. I was like, "Damn it, man, you're in charge of me. Like, you let me control when I can leave this place. That sucks. I'm gonna do things differently when I leave here." Yeah, what a trip, you know. So, but again, that just goes to your amount of respect and maybe your hindsight to the situation you're in, because you don't walk in there like you're better than them. You don't walk in there like you've got some leg up on them in society, because again, many people can be in that situation and think like, now even on the street I can step on you because I know you were down here, you know, and they make you out to be like that's who you are.
Yeah.
I've seen police officers and old probation officers and stuff like that, you know, and again,
It's like, oh, you staying out of trouble?
right,
Yeah.
sometimes they're really, really nice and like, you know, but sometimes they're like, you're always a piece of shit, you know, and that sucks. It's a bad attitude. So like,
yeah, it really is. Like even if they get on my nerves, like I've seen a couple of them out and I tried just not to. I don't want to talk to you. Like we both know where we know each other from. Let's just keep it at that. It'd make it easier.
Mutual respect.
Yeah.
You know, and again, like the fact that you don't even really want to look into who they are and take them on face value, and it's like, you know, if you show me in this environment that you're a decent person, that's what I'm going to believe you are, and I'm going to treat you the same. You know, like I think that goes a long way. You know, again, like I said, you could see somebody out in the street and they'd be like, screw you. You know what I mean? Like you're the police. You know, like I don't know if you ever had anybody, you know, negatively.
I was at the bar a couple weeks ago and.
Oh, really?
And the next inmate was there, and he's like, shouldn't you be at the jail? And I was like, fuck you, shut up, go away. Shut up, please go away. Like,
you want me to say the same thing about you?
The
Shouldn't you be at the jail? You know, like,
like why do you
want?
why do you gotta go there? Like, like you see,
Touche.
just nod your head and keep walking, please.
Yeah.
Right, especially because it's like, you know,
We're here
do
to
you
have
want
fun,
do you want me to say where I know you from? Because like you're kind of
Exactly.
calling your own card out
No,
by saying,
exactly.
Yeah.
man, how funny.
Yeah,
I'm glad I asked, because I'm telling you what, that's like, I feel like in my position, I'd be like looking over my shoulder, like, oh fuck, is that fucking guy?
No, exactly. And you're like,
Yeah.
are they gonna say
I do.
something? I hope they don't tell people that they know where I'm from.
Yeah.
Luckily, you're on the better side of it.
Yeah. I mean, I still watch myself when I go out, just because you don't. These guys can change their mind like
Right.
that.
So what did you do before that? Because again, you didn't have any aspirations. You didn't grow up wanting to be a cop or a CO.
I mean, I sort of did. In 5th grade, I decided I wanted to be a lawyer, and I was already looking at schools. I was a weirdo.
Well,
I
wanted out. I wanted to be a lawyer, but going to school to be a lawyer is expensive. I was like, fuck that. I'm not paying that back.
Yeah,
I was like, me making all that money still doesn't. And all this, it's like maybe 6 years? I think you gotta go. I'm like, no.
Oh, really? Is
it?
To even be able to take the bar exam?
I think.
Because this is where I'm like, you know what? Just give me that fucking exam. Let me just see how good I do with no studying at all.
Yeah, let me see what I can do.
Can we get a prefab bar just to see? Because schooling is not for everybody.
Yeah, no. I went. I'm graduating in May, and I barely.
What's your major?
I am a criminology and psychology major.
Ah, no shit.
Yes.
That's what, I mean, that's again something that she aspires to pursue, because again, knowing, forgive me, anybody that knows me, knowing a bunch of the people that we've known that are like been incarcerated or have had issues with addiction and mental health, and I mean, being 30 years old now and seeing how many people that we knew and aren't even here anymore, whether it be suicide or drug addiction or in prison, it's like, man, there's got to be a reason for it. I mean, to understand the mind of someone that's going through something like that or has gone through something like that, and maybe finding alternative solutions to maybe locking them up or maybe medication, there's got to be a different way. We're a smarter generation than what came before us.
Yeah.
We have more technology.
We have more resources.
Yeah. Right. So
and
it's
I said, if, all right, someone has a drug addiction, they have medication out there. Could work for somebody and it doesn't work for the next person. So you gotta find a different way that's gonna appeal to them and work for them. They're not all the same.
Well, and
it inspired me to help people.
And it always twisted me up to understand, like, okay, well, drugs are bad, don't take drugs, but take these drugs. Those ones are no good, but these ones are okay.
Yeah, these ones are great. Have at it.
Well, sometimes when you tell me these ones are okay and they're not addictive, they turn out to be highly addictive.
Yeah.
It's like, so, I mean, like, at the same time, I got to be able to trust and understand that the person that's handing me the thing, I can believe it really wants my best interest. Like we were just talking about, on the last one, it's like, those doctors get a kickback for certain medications they prescribe. So, I mean, like, unfortunately, there's a lot of influence that comes in that isn't just trying to take care of you and make you better. Like, they're not in the business of curing people, unfortunately, in a lot of cases. So, like, a lot of people fall through the cracks, in the business of medicine.
Yep.
And they're not getting the right help, and same thing with just, even incarcerating people. Like, that costs the state so much money. And how many of those people are not actually benefiting from being locked up and being separated from society? Maybe those people need the exact opposite. Yep. Maybe those people were already separated from society, and that's why they robbed a gas station, or maybe that's why they started dealing drugs, because they couldn't get a job. So it's like, maybe giving people a leg up. Like I said about the welfare system a long time ago, like, instead of incentivizing having children and sitting on your ass all day, why not incentivize having a job, having a career, being in school, having a car, not getting pregnant? It's like, I would rather give you a check every month for coming in with a negative pregnancy test, before the age of 20.
One. Yeah.
Right. Like, why would I finance you to go out and have a kid whenever you don't even, you haven't even grown up yet, don't have a career yet, don't have a job?
The big thing in this town, we have so many single mothers in this town, young single mothers in this town, and it's so sad.
Well,
really?
It's not sad, but like,
well, we could only hope everybody's happy and loves their children. That's the most important part of it. But I guarantee that they could tell you right now the struggles of not being ready, not expecting it, like not being able to just, afford food. Nobody wants to be on welfare. I mean, there's people that obviously take advantage of any system.
We have a very
but
closed-minded town. Or not just an area of Pennsylvania, maybe even the whole state. Like, we're very set in our, like, not set in our ways, but like it seems like everybody else is, and we're trying to break through it, and nobody wants to.
They need to teach more about
nobody likes change, Well, we've all heard that spiel and that talk, and it's like,
Home health only goes so far.
Yeah.
Exactly.
the problem is, you got to look at the root of stuff. At least I do. The problem is that now children are maturing much, 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 much faster, and that's because of hormones and bullshit chemicals in our food and stuff. It's like so. I've said it before. It's like the age of puberty used to be 16. Now it's like 9.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like,
It's like 10.
12 even. Yeah, exactly. Like 11.
So-
like it's very early.
So
Yes.
people are missing that fucking boat to have that conversation. Like
Yeah.
you think that you got till your child 13, 14, 15 to have that
Exactly, you
conversation.
really
Like, no, you need to
don't.
have that conversation somehow at 8, 9, 10. Like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
who's ready for that?
Yeah.
So it's
And
like,
parents don't want to do it either. They're like,
Exactly. They think
no.
it's
especially
like,
at that age, it feels so fucking out of place. Like,
Exactly.
to
Like,
us,
it's
like,
just- you need to think about your child's safety.
Don't have
That's what it comes down to. Like, you don't want them to do it, but if they're gonna do it, they need to be safe about it.
well,
Like,
and
they
unfortunately,
can't just
being
figure it out by themselves.
misinformed or having no information is the worst place to be in. Like, so
Exactly.
unfortunately, the best thing you can do is make them aware of every possible scenario and expose them to, the truth of the matter, as opposed to don't ever do it because it's bad, because then they're going to ask a million questions.
Yeah,
Why
'cause
is it bad?
And what does a teenager do? They're it's bad. All right, I'm gonna go do
The
it.
exact opposite, because again, they want to know why it's bad, or maybe, again, like everybody's different. Just because I think something's bad doesn't mean that they will. So it's like, as human nature, it's like if somebody tells me that that's dangerous, I'm like, I'm gonna go try that.
Yeah.
Fuck, dangerous? That sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah. Sounds enticing.
We jump off of, like rockets and shit for fun. It's like, it's just it's case by case scenario. It's like, and it's the same thing. You can't lock everybody up across the board. You can't give everybody medication across the board. We need more resources to be able to understand specifically why these things are happening. And unfortunately, like, I don't have the answers either. I'm no genius,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like I said, I think that, our generation are the ones that figure it out. We have more resources than we've ever had. Unfortunately, we just need to change, like, I mean, for small towns, it's going to take the longest,
Yeah.
But
Or, like,
But
dragging
yeah,
them by
we're
their
behind
feet.
everyone else in small towns.
in some ways,
Yeah,
you
because
know.
like I go to school in a city, and I'm like, all right, you guys are doing things way differently.
Are
than
you
what
in like Pittsburgh or something like that?
Albuquerque?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
As in
New Mexico.
what?
Yeah, that's where I chose to go to school. I didn't want to stay anywhere.
Isn't that where
here.
Bugs Bunny took the wrong turn?
Yeah.
I'm supposed to take the left towards Albuquerque.
You drive down there?
I would fly back.
You fly back?
Yeah, I would fly there and back. Like we drove down when I first moved in, but I would fly there and back.
Albuquerque?
Yeah, for I think.
Why?
Cheaper?
Just I mean, like,
I just didn't want to be here. I didn't want to see anyone. Like, I didn't want to see anyone I went to high school with.
yeah, I get that.
I was
Restart.
No.
You got to find yourself.
Yeah, I was like, I want to be as far away from you people as possible. I was like, I don't want to go to school in a small town either.
Oh, we get that. We're not.
Well, and you probably met a lot of people with the exact same mindset.
Yeah,
that probably
it's-
weren't locals to New Mexico.
Yeah, it's so diverse there, and that's what I was looking for. I wanted somewhere that was diverse, and
Right.
it really is.
Well, I think a lot of people could benefit from like true culture shock.
Yeah,
Especially if you live in a little bit of a bubble.
yeah,
And it's like, well, you know what? I don't really know what it's like to be around people who think completely different than me, who have been from different backgrounds. It's like, but that's where you get real growth. Like, you really got to be around people who are starkly different than you. Because if you're around people who are exactly the same, you're going to stay in that same rut.
yeah. You're gonna stay the same way. So
Yeah.
yeah, I really benefited from going.
So how
to
long have
school.
you been in school in New Mexico?
Going on. I'm just gonna complete my 4th year, so I'll graduate.
Oh, shit.
Yep, I'll graduate a month from
How
today.
old are you?
I'm 22.
No shit. See, and I mean, I'll talk to 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds that have never left the county, the state, the town.
Yeah.
It's like, so, I mean,
Very set in their ways.
to be able to experience stuff, especially like do it young, because that's when you're the most receptive and open, I think, to new things.
Yeah, to
and
new things.
as you get older, you get bitter, and it's like, there's a bunch of excuses not to do shit.
It's easier
Yeah.
to bounce around. You're not locked down anywhere.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
we
a
don't
bonus.
have a mortgage. We don't have a car payment. Like, we don't have like something that's super set. Like,
What's the other?
No, that's
No. We should though.
yeah, honestly, at
Yeah,
this
I
point.
thought that's what you were getting
but
at. We don't have a
so
Like, even just renting, like, we don't have, or like.
Yeah,
at
I got
the
nothing
time,
tying
we
me
didn't
down.
Have anything
That's what
where
I
you
like.
can, bounce
Anymore.
somewhere.
I think that's the way that society's going. Which, unfortunately, I still believe in. Like, if you have the opportunity to buy fucking any kind of property or land, do it. Because I don't care if you're going to travel the world for the next 60
At least
years.
you have something to come back to.
They're not making any more fucking ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Own a piece of it somewhere because you want to come back to it.
Die and like buy it, like
right, and that's the thing too. Maybe you don't ever
want.
want to. Maybe you want to be buried at sea, but maybe your child or maybe somebody needs a piece of ground or something to live on.
Just us. There's gonna be more people coming.
Yeah, they're not making more Earth, so.
Yeah.
This is a good opportunity to talk about today's sponsor. I'm just kidding. I don't have a fucking sponsor. But we're gonna get a realtor sponsor right now. But so you applied there, like I'm sure you probably applied to other schools. Did you? So take us through that, like, because you had to want to be in New Mexico, like.
Yeah. The reason I went to New Mexico, 8th grade glass field trip, we went to Hershey Park. Met a guy there.
Oh dear.
Head over heels for him.
Yeah, and he was from New Mexico. Don't know. I'm like, why are you on a class trip in Hershey, PA? For one, why are you
like
here?
Foreign exchange?
Like for us, it's like
no,
skipping a jump away, like.
Yeah. Well, they had come up from New Mexico. I'm like, why did you? Why did you guys pick PA? Like, you could have went anywhere, and you chose Pennsylvania.
Was he just with his family? It wasn't like
he was part of
with
his school.
Okay. Wow.
So it was weird, but we dated for a little bit. Obviously, it didn't work out, whatever. But he was like, you should come out to New Mexico. So I looked at their law school, because at the time, that's what I was looking to do still. And then I went, and I said, fuck it, I'll apply. I applied to a couple schools here. I applied to a school in Oregon, Georgia, Tennessee.
Good choices.
And then I wasn't even going to New Mexico at first. Like, for Christmas, I got my parents' IUP sweatshirts. And I was like, this is where I'm going. This is where I'm going to school. Because they have
How funny. You're so set on it.
Yeah, because they have a really good criminal justice program, which is what
Well, and I'm sure that felt like kind of a little bit like a pipe dream. A little bit like, in New Mexico. Right?
Yeah. And then, 2 weeks before I had to make a decision, I was like, I'm going to New Mexico. Sorry. Like,
wow.
Last minute, we got to move. Like, I gotta move.
That's awesome.
Figure it out. But at first I hated it. My first year was god-awful. Like, it didn't help that also, like, my roommate, because I lived in a dorm my first year. She was from Oregon. God love her. But I walked in after, like, her parents had already left, and then my parents were getting ready to leave. We walked into our dorm, and she's sitting underneath her bed crying. I was like, oh, this isn't going to go good. I was like, this is not going to go good. So our anxiety just fed off of each other the whole time, and to the point where she applied to go back to Oregon. She's like, I'm not coming back after winter break. I'm not. She's like, I hate it here. I was like, okay, cool.
That happens.
I then reapplied back to IUP, got in a second time, and my mom's like, just stick it out for a year. She's like, if you don't like it, she's like, we'll come get you and you can transfer school. Yeah, I was very much homesick.
Well,
and I had a lot of shit happen my first year. Like, I had freaking 6 people die in less than a year while I was at school.
Wait, people in family or friends?
Yeah, family, friends. Yeah. Over my winter break, my dad passed, and I was like, how the hell am I supposed to go back to New Mexico right now? I was like, I don't want to go. But freaking...
Isn't that weird? I was like, you essentially had every reason not to go back. You had every reason to just say, you know what, I'm just gonna stay.
Yeah, I really didn't want to go back. Like, it was a force to get me to go back. The
universe is weird like that. That it's almost like sets you up with the most difficult challenges sometimes. To get you where you need to be.
My mom's like, you're going. She's like, stick it out for a year if you really want to come back. Like, that's fine. Ended up. I didn't make a whole lot of friends in college. Like, I stuck because it's crazy down there. Yeah. Whole different world. Everyone's like, did you go to parties? I was like, no, because people were getting shot at parties. I would have sat in the corner and cried. I'm like,
I mean,
no.
You're kind of tan. You could have fit in. What?
You're
not real pale.
That's the joke at work. they call me a spick all the time.
Oh,
I'm like, hey, I'm just Italian.
I would call you Guadalupe. You got a little bit of a Dora the Explorer vibe.
I'm like, thanks. Like, that's what they call me. And I make it even worse. Is we have tortillas in our fridge, and I will just come up on the floor eating just a plain tortilla, and they're like, and you wonder why we call you a Mexican.
Oh no.
But
you gotta play the part.
It's crazy down there. The homelessness, crazy. I have a homeless friend.
So even right in like college, because you're not, are you living on campus?
No, I chose to stay home my senior year.
Okay, so how often are you like? That's a long trip.
I haven't been back since last May.
Oh, okay.
I've been gone for like a year.
Okay, so when you were down there, though, were you on campus though?
I lived on campus. Yeah, half the time, and then me and a girl I met my sophomore year, we ended up being roommates. She ended up getting an apartment, and
But you were living in Mexico full time.
Yep.
Just coming home periodically.
Yeah, I would come home for the summer and then winter break, but I was
right.
predominantly there.
So the streets of Albuquerque.
Nuts.
Yeah.
So even like by the college and stuff, like kind of a bad neighborhood or
ghetto,
what?
straight ghetto.
Yeah,
like it's like I'm like
yeah.
I was like, who the hell chose to put?
Were you expecting like gleaming, beautiful college and got?
I mean, the college is nice, but you take like one step out onto the sidewalk off campus, and it's like, where the hell did I go?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. I worked at a Walmart down there. And of course, I picked a Walmart that was in the ghetto too. We have like 4 sets of security.
Wow.
I was like,
you want to change. You want a different.
I got it.
It's like, man. I mean, we have a buddy of mine, like his family like lives in Yemen. He goes to Yemen and shit. It's like, so I mean, he talks about like real like conflict. Like holy shit, dude. Like I mean, I lived like downtown Pittsburgh and seen some shit, but even in California at the time, like I didn't see any gang activity or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I must have just been in a good neighborhood. Very close to like Skid Row, and I've seen a lot of homeless encampments, and like you don't fucking even pull a cigarette out the whole time. You'll have a swarm of homeless people coming to bum a smoke. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah,
dude. Like I gave one out, and they all know.
Yeah, like even I would get asked if I had a lighter all the time, and I wasn't even smoking a cigarette. I'm like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't smoke cigarettes. I vape. Can I hit your vape? No. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I was watching this thing, and like it was kind of like a meme. But it was like honestly no joke if you lived in areas like that, and she's lived in like ghettos and shit like that, and being a girl, it's a completely different situation. But it's like if you're like walking and someone's like, "Hey, yo," you don't even turn around.
No, I don't.
You don't even fucking acknowledge that. You don't fucking say nothing.
Please be talking to
Like, hey,
else.
my name ain't bro. You know what I mean? Like if he don't know my name and
you don't want to talk to me for any
you don't even acknowledge it
reason.
because as soon as you turn around, you might be in a situation like 4 fucking people are in. It's like, man, you got to have some self-awareness to like. So kudos to you to be in there because you didn't go down there with anybody. You were by yourself.
Yeah, I was by myself, and I went out a lot by myself too. Like I mean,
that was scary.
like I said, I didn't make a lot of friends.
Well, just walk into get a drink or something is a life or death situation.
And I mean,
sometimes.
we had an open campus, and we have this nice duck pond that I would love to go to all the time. I was sitting out there late at night, and they send these alerts on your phone if something on campus is going on. They're like, yeah, there's a man on campus who's got a shotgun. But they go, he's on the north, they're like, he's on the east side of campus. I'm like, that's cool. Where's the fucking east side of campus?
Let me get my compass out.
I'm like, yeah, let me get my compass out. Where the frick is the east side?
You are Dora the Explorer.
So then I was like, I should probably get out of the open. I was like, because I don't even know where I am. Walked back to my dorm, and then like a week later, found out I live on the east side of campus. I was like,
just
nice.
That's the problem, right? You're walking right into danger.
Yeah,
you don't even know.
Great, cool. And I probably looked real ridiculous. I used to go on walks at night around campus. Yeah, I know it wasn't my best choice, but I still did it.
The thing is you're in college. It's a new place. You want to explore. You're
and I needed to do something other than sit in my dorm and cry.
That's the thing. It's like, boy, what am I going to do? Regret my whole college experience because I was too afraid to go out. So like you try to be outgoing, you try to meet people, but it's like you hear, oh my god, you hear all these stories.
Yeah, even the kids on campus, like you couldn't trust either. Like, New Mexico State is like our biggest rival in New Mexico, and they're down south further. Their basketball team was up for a game because they were playing against each other, and I guess something had happened at the football game down there that got brought over to the basketball. I slept through this, don't know how. It was 2 buildings down from me. But one of the basketball players ended up shooting one of our students dead on campus. Yeah. Well, they both shot at each other. Like they both knew what was going on, but one of them ended up dying. I'm like, I woke up the next morning and was getting ready for work, and I see it on the news. I'm like, what the hell? I was like, this is 2 buildings down from me. Where was I?
You're like going to class under crime scene tape. You're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Mondays.
There's no alert.
Yeah, and then
by the way, class is canceled.
Well, and it's like the school doesn't even evacuate the building, doesn't lock down the school. It's just a normal day.
Oh, I was like, send us a nice text. Hey, we're gonna practice our emergency sound system.
Yeah.
And you could hear it, and I'm like, you didn't want to put that out when that happened?
Like, didn't want to wake you up.
Yeah.
I'd rather be woke up.
You guys would be asleep anyway, so.
Like, good thing I wasn't out walking.
Yeah, no, for real, exactly.
And my last year that I was living down there, like it wasn't any one of our students or anything, but someone had gotten stabbed on our campus, and I knew where it had happened, and I happened to be walking there like a couple days later, and you could just see the blood marks down the railing. I'm like, what the hell?
I wish you had pictures.
I should have took pictures.
This is where I'm like, yeah, this is fucked up, but you know what?
This is where I go to school.
Yeah.
It's great.
On the Christmas card. Oh, man. And see, when I was in college, like, I mean, I had the same perspective. I'm like, well, you know what? I'm out. I want to just, and experience things. But then I start to realize, I'm like, shit, there might be a reason that maybe somebody at this party wants to, like, maybe slip me something, or maybe, is lying to me about what I'm drinking. It's like, that's just normal shit. Like,
yeah, I just stayed home and drank with my friend. I was like, this is the safest way for me to do it. I'm going to stay in the comfort of my home.
To be a girl and be like, oh, you want to come to a party? And, like, you might never be seen again.
No,
yeah,
exactly.
no,
especially that close to the border.
Yeah, especially down there.
So
like, it's
scary.
really bad. Like, we have,
Right.
like, we definitely have people living in Albuquerque
Well, and see,
from
this
the
is where
cartel.
turn your fucking mic on, because, like, she lived in Arizona, which same thing,
yeah.
super close to the border, super skinny girl. She weighs maybe 100 pounds on her heaviest day. It's like she could be tossed into a fucking van.
Yeah. And I'm not going to fight with you.
And well, a guy got murdered right in front of my house, in my yard.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So, like, I get it.
Well, and then her mom's like, what do you mean you want your dad to walk with you to the store? Why?
Yeah.
What do you
Like,
mean,
are you
why?
nuts?
My stepmom would be like, you're not going to the store with her, dear.
Like, just down the street. It's like, motherfucker, look at the fucking people that look
at
just like on the street corner. Like, holy shit. Yeah, you got to acknowledge the environment that you're in. You know, so I'm glad you survived it. Yeah, and you got some stories to tell. You got some experiences. So, I mean, like, that was some of the scary stuff. What are some good things that you're, like, really happy you went down there for?
Oh, I loved it down there. I met, like I said, my sophomore year, I got roomed with someone who actually lived in New Mexico. She lived down south a little further. We got to be really close friends, so we were always going back to where she lived. Her family became my family.
That's
That was
cool.
probably, like, my favorite thing is, like, I really made a best friend in her.
Find somebody you can trust, yeah.
Yeah, like, I could trust her. I was like, I trust you to don't murder me or anything. She was like my mom. She was my mom, but she's younger than me. She's like, I will take care of you.
But someone that knows the landscape, knows what, where to go, where not to go. Because, again, you talk about that, it's like, it's the same situation. It's like, boy, like, I could be in a nice, beautiful area, but, boy, if you take the wrong
turn,
2 hours down, you're in Mexico.
Well, not even that. Sometimes it's the wrong street. Sometimes you can go down a bad fucking street. Like, I might be looking at my Google Maps. I'm like, oh, boy, I'm not going to, walk all the way around that. I'm going to cut through this alleyway.
And then you're never seen again.
It's like, boy, that could really be, like I said, like the decision between, like, being in a really bad environment to where, like, I mean, I'm a BMX rider, so, like, I'm just looking at rails and stair sets and fucking ledges and shit. Like, I'm not thinking good neighborhood, bad neighborhood. Like, I ended up, like, on the north side of Pittsburgh a handful of times, and, like, I'm like, this is, like, I'm seeing billboards for wanted posters for local people that are murderers.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, I should probably be aware of, like, where I'm at, because I'm just
Yeah.
by myself. I got headphones in. Somebody could fucking swipe my $3,000 bicycle
Yeah,
and
my
fucking
mom
kill me.
My mom hated that because I always had headphones in because I didn't want to. And I walk around with them turned up. I knew I shouldn't, but I was like, I don't want to hear anybody.
But you do that to tune it out.
Yeah, I don't want to hear anybody. I don't want to associate.
Yeah, it's the
but
same
then
thing,
at the
like,
same time, I'm also putting myself at risk, and it's like,
Pretend that they're on.
right.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing too. Is right. If you at least you have it on because you're trying to again dissociate with anybody that might be trying to lure you in or someone like, so like having that perception, without them knowing it. Yeah, because I mean, at least now, like, I mean, I can like tap my fucking power button on my phone 3 times and it calls 911, which is a pain in the ass 9 days out of 10. But thank God in a situation you could do something, and maybe alert somebody. But
yeah,
it's definitely scary, like I said, because you're so far away from anything anybody that's going to help you, anybody that really cares about you.
Yeah, I'm like, who the hell is going to take care of my ass?
Springs, Colorado. So, like,
oh, really?
I could be there in 5 hours.
Yeah, luckily, for my first year, she was living out in Colorado.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, good. At least I had her 5 hours.
Did you ever come down? Or?
No.
No.
we
tried,
wanted to,
but we
and then
could
it never
make
happened.
it work.
Yeah.
If you ever need to go back.
No,
I have
exactly.
family
Right.
there.
Right. And did
All
you
out
stay in
west.
touch with the person that you knew in college then?
Yep, just got off the phone with her before I came here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
You know, so it's something like that. At least now, like, there's a little part of the world now that's opened up to you to where, like, maybe you want to go down there for a summer
Yep.
or something.
Yeah, she's supposed to get married next year, so
No
I'm
shit.
supposed to go there.
Very
for
cool.
a
Yeah,
wedding.
and then you think about what's accessible from there too.
Yep.
You know, like I realized that when I was in California, I'm like, boy, Vegas is right there now. Seattle's right there. I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit! Like I'm
Exactly.
so close to things that just were so far away before.
Yep.
You
And like
know.
when you're already there,
It's like, why not?
It's a 5-hour drive. It's like, well, that's not bad. I would take that to like if I was gonna go to like not Philly, but like Pittsburgh or something. Like, you know, I
Right.
would be driving a lot.
Right.
Whereas it was like a 28-hour drive before. Now it's like, yeah, I could do 3 hours. I could do 4 hours. here.
Right.
Yeah.
I can go.
Yeah,
visit
and
something.
say there she's got family in Texas and stuff like that. It's like, man, like there's got to be summers that we got to take like maybe a month or so off and just close down the shop and go and
Yeah.
just get a
Get
different
away.
change of scenery. Because again, like you're around the same people all the time. You're going to be in the same
Yeah, it gets annoying.
same routine. It just becomes mundane.
Yeah.
And then you start to kind of project negativity on things. It's like
Yeah, that's
you
fine.
get sick of shit.
Are you struggling with stress, anxiety, chronic pain, or just burned out? Dream Float in St. Mary's might be exactly what your body's been asking for. They've got float tanks to ease your mind, hyperbaric oxygen therapy to speed up healing, and IV hydration for energy. Infrared saunas will help with pain and detoxing. Trust me, folks, it's not just luxury, it's recovery. Check out beautywithinmd.com or find them on Facebook, Dream Float in St. Mary's. This is the future of healing people, and if you've heard it here, let them know that we sent you. Dream Float in St. Mary's.
Yeah, exactly why I left. I did not. I was tired. I was like, I need to get away from Pennsylvania. I hate it here. Not actually, but it has its perks. Like when I was away, I definitely missed it. Do I want to live here for the rest of my life? Absolutely not.
Well, and massive climate change too. Like I'm sure the weather, a big obviously
I'm not a
asset.
cold or snow person. Hate it. Freaking hate it.
Temperatures down there though are probably atrocious though.
Dry heat. It's the best.
Yeah, right.
It's
No
the
humidity.
best.
Right.
It's the best thing in the world.
Right.
I will take that over the humidity any day.
Well,
of
and
the week.
people always scout at me too, and I'm like, "Fuck Florida," like.
I never want to go there.
I would be in California, like, "Oh, you going to Florida, like to sweat to death and deal with the bugs?" Like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like out in California, it could be 100 degrees, and I'm chilling. Like,
I know my boyfriend's like, we should go somewhere next year. He's like, how about Florida? He's like, I really want to hit Miami, and I was like, no, if I'm going to Florida, I'm going to like the Keys.
All right, Will
I'm not going to
Smith.
Miami. I'll
Yeah.
drop your ass off in Miami, maybe.
Yeah,
Fun.
even Georgia and shit. Like Georgia's beautiful. You said about like Tennessee. Tennessee's fucking
Yeah,
gorgeous.
I'm from Tennessee, so I want to.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, I didn't get to
Cool.
live there, unfortunately, but I was born there, and I want to go back.
I spent some time in Nashville. I did like just the normal touristy stuff when I was going through there. I was just passing through, but like I'm like, man, if there was one place that I think I could really, really be comfortable settling down, like Tennessee is awesome, and Kentucky's just as nice too.
Yeah.
It has like all the benefits of like PA and just like I'm really outdoorsy. I
No,
love to look at the
exactly.
stars. But you're close enough to like a nice nightlife to where like if you want to do crazy shit like we do, it's like man to be like a tattoo business and stuff like
Yeah.
Exactly.
boy Tennessee would be hopping,
Yeah.
But now Austin's where it's at, Austin,
Really?
Texas coming
I
is
hate
like
it. I mean, I wasn't there for long. Ugh. Flying was the worst part. I'd always get stuck in freaking Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
I would always get stuck
that's
in
what,
Dallas,
every layover
Texas.
was in Dallas Fort Worth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, every time. I'm like,
I
why?
fucking hate it.
And it was the number one stop I always had to make. Because it was either I go from Pittsburgh to Dallas, then to Albuquerque, or I was going from like Pittsburgh to LaGuardia, then to Dallas,
What?
then to Albuquerque. I was like, I'm not going
Who's
to
decide these
LaGuardia.
flight patterns? I always
Or like somewhere in Florida. They wanted me to freaking go to Miami. I was like, I'm not going to freaking Miami. I want to go to Albuquerque. Okay, can we just get there? So I would always take
One way.
the Pittsburgh. You couldn't get a one way to Albuquerque, unfortunately, either.
Yeah.
Well, it's
But-
like even flying to California, you'd fly literally like I would fly out of like Santa Ana and I could literally fly to Boston and then to Pittsburgh. It's like, how does that make any fucking sense?
Yeah, it don't.
like couldn't just go to Pittsburgh,
Yeah,
like,
you
and then flying back over, you always get layover in Dallas, Fort Worth before going to California. It's like it's literally that much farther, you know.
Yeah, the amount of nights I've slept
4 hour
on the Dallas
layover.
airport is.
I was gonna say right. I'm fucking sleeping next to an outlet.
Well, they were never too bad, but I adopted a cat when I was out in Mexico.
A Mexican cat, a new Mexican cat.
He's from El Paso, Texas.
Does he have an accent?
We call him El Paso Todd.
Todd.
He's freaking a nutcase, but freaking the last time, because I would fly with him every time I had to move back. He was flying with me. Like, I did not care. I had to pay for my
like
cat.
A pet carrier?
Yep.
He's down.
Yep.
Ah, that's sad. He should be able to be on your lap.
He was fine. Like, he would cry during, like, in the airport, and then once we got on the plane, shut right up.
Did you have to, like, get him in the crate beforehand? Like, get him used to it? Because that's
no, he was fine with it.
How long is the flight?
From Pittsburgh to Dallas, it's, maybe 2.5 hours? So, and then I would take him out in the airport. Didn't like that. He hates people. Like, if it's...
yeah, that's like sensory overload for anybody.
Yeah, he hated it. And then
Do you have, like, a harness and a leash?
Yeah. Had one. We never used it, though.
No.
He never... I would take him out, and he'd look around and right back in his bag. He's like, I don't want to be out.
I've only done that once with a cat.
He was good. I felt really bad for him. The last time I got... Where was I going? I was going back to Albuquerque from being home on winter break and got delayed in Dallas. Kept getting delayed in Dallas. They couldn't get me on a flight till like 1 o'clock the next day. I'm like, I have a cat. I was like, can you get me on the next available flight, please? I was like, they're like, they have a pet restroom. I was like, yeah, he's been in there. He does not want to use it.
They have a pet restroom?
I was gonna say, what if he has to shit?
Yeah, I was so...
You got litter in the bottom of your bag or something?
Yeah.
Like, what...
Yeah, it was...
Google pet restroom. That's... Is
Yeah.
this in Dallas? They have this in Dallas?
Yeah.
Okay.
In Dallas.
Off section.
It's like fake...
turf,
It's like,
kind
yeah,
of,
fake grass. It's...
It is.
Smells
yeah.
like piss. It's great.
I was hoping.
Yeah, it was great.
But it's cool
Man.
though, because like if you have like a service animal, you know. Like,
Well,
they go
I
back.
would have never imagined that they would even care enough to have a restroom for your animal because most people probably don't travel with animals, but I bet you a lot of people now with the whole emotional support pet and the service animal industry.
Many major airports in the U.S. have a designated pet relief area, including indoor and outdoor.
I've never seen an outdoor one.
travel.
Probably a lot.
Well, you would think that they'd want you to just take them out, but at the same time, you can't have somebody picking up dog shit outside of the airport.
Or like the security.
I always-
Security
because-
sucked.
Yeah.
I never did it again.
Man, I was just thinking, just like
I always had to get it like a separate
litter boxes
room.
in.
They're like, can you take him out? And I was like, if I take him out, he might run.
Well,
I was like,
yeah.
no, I'm not going to hold him. I was like,
That's
we
what I
could
said.
put me in a room somewhere and then check his
Do
bag.
they got to scan the cat?
Yeah. I'm like, just...
Yeah.
Because I could, like, probably feed him a knife or something, that I'm going to use to terrorize somebody,
Yeah.
like.
But, yeah.
He's got, like, a suppository detonator.
Tiny little.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody's thought about using an animal to do something terrible.
No, exactly.
Yeah, like, how would they make sure that you weren't just taking
And,
this
like,
cat?
Exactly. And,
Yeah.
like, it's so sad that we always have to think about the worst case scenario. But like,
Unfortunately, we
Yeah,
have
it's
to.
crazy
Side
what they
bombers,
do.
Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, 'cause
bring
again, like I
animal
said
into it?
5
They
minutes
already
ago, I'm
don't
like,
care about their own
They
life,
should let you
know,
just
like-
have them on your lap. Like, why can't you just have the
Exactly.
cat? But I guess the
Take
cat could
everything
also
with
be a
them.
bomb. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Security is crazy. Like,
well,
when my-
I know. Well, go ahead.
when my dad passed away, I refused to leave his ashes here. So I carted them back to New Mexico with me in my book bag.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and
Do
they're
you have
like,
to divulge that? Like, that's human
you
remains?
have to get a signed paper
Yeah.
from wherever they get freaking
the
cremated
crematorium,
at,
right, or whatever.
and then you have to give it to them, and then you have to, I didn't know I had to take him out. They made me take him out of my bag,
Wow.
and then they're like wiping him down, and then I'm sitting
What?
I'm like to check
That's
for
a little weird.
drug residue, and then
Oh, see, again, there's
See-
some things I don't think about.
yeah,
Like, even
well.
anthrax, that would.
I
Right.
live off
Crazy.
dead dad jokes because that's the only way I'm gonna get through it. And I'm like, my dad died of an overdose, dude. Is he gonna?
Whoa.
I was like, is he gonna
What if
freaking
his
test
ash-
positive?
Yeah.
I was
What
like,
if they
I was
contain
like, his
something?
ash is
Dude,
gonna
that's
test positive.
crazy. I never even
That
thought
is
of
insane.
That. Oh my
Oh
god,
my God.
Abby, that's funny.
Listen, if you don't have a sense of humor about something, you'll die.
Yeah,
like, thank God you can laugh about something. Like,
Oh yeah,
boy, especially, like, have you said that out loud to somebody?
yeah, I did. I called my mom. I was like, hey, they made me take dad out of the bag. And then she's like, yeah. And I was like, they're wiping him down. I'm like, he better not test fucking positive. I was like, he had just about everything in his goddamn system. I was like, he better not test positive.
Have you ever considered a career in stand-up comedy? Because I think you might do quite well. That was a hell of a punchline. I was not seeing that coming at all. That was really good.
She's already admitted.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. Me and my one friend, because it was very chaotic. Our first years of college together. She went to school here. I went to school out in Albuquerque. But her dad was battling cancer. It wasn't going well. He ended up passing away. And then, like, 2.5 weeks later, my dad ended up passing away.
Holy shit.
First I called my mom to let her know. Because my mom and dad weren't together. They haven't been together for years. And
were you the first to know? I mean, essentially, like...
Yeah, I was the first to know, unfortunately. But freaking, I called her next. I called my friend next. And she's like, what do you want? I was like, just bawling at this point. And I was like, I have a question for you. And she's like, why are you crying? I was like, do you want to be in the Dead Dads Club together?
Oh
she's like, Abby.
Oh, no.
I was like, yeah, guess what? We get to be twins. We both have shirts that said baddies with dead daddies on them.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, we have made it our whole personality.
I mean, again, taking something that normally would, crush somebody and really could send somebody on a really different trajectory, at least you can maybe use it to kind of empower yourself. I mean, like, that's just your personality. I mean, like, you're born to laugh.
I was like, if I don't make fun of this or make jokes out of it, I was like, I'll just cry the whole time.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Well, and, as someone, I mean, like, both of my parents are still living, but to somebody that might have lost a parent, they'd be like, you know what, that's actually, like, something I never was able to do, and maybe I should learn, maybe find.
Maybe I should have done that.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know who your dad was, but I would imagine he would rather you be able to, crack a smile whenever you talk about the situation rather than,
Yeah, instead of cry about it, yeah. Definitely.
Or let it hold you back, or, again, so many people use something traumatic to make excuses why they can't do something or why they shouldn't do something. Like, you got to use it to empower you and further yourself.
Yeah, and that's exactly how I go about it. Like, everything I do is for him now.
Did he pass away from an overdose? Really?
He did.
Wow.
It wasn't a surprise. I knew at the age of like 15 that my dad was going to die of an overdose. I didn't think it was going to be at the age of 19. I thought I at least had to my mid 20s, but
really?
He always had to prove me wrong. And I was like, thanks, Dad. Love you.
It's a shame. I mean, like, obviously you were close with him throughout it. I mean,
my dad ended up going to prison when I was 5 years old. Robbed a bank.
Wow.
So after that, he wasn't really like in my life, like physically, but anytime, like my mom didn't know how to handle me when I was younger. She'd call my dad. You better get on the phone with your daughter. I don't know what to do with her anymore.
Oh, no.
Like, she did not know how to handle me. He did. So we'd always be on the phone talking. And, like, I seen him a handful of times after he got out. Like, my mom let me go live with him for a summer up in Erie.
So he's been obviously since out and everything? Like,
yeah.
That's awesome. So, like, it's, it's one of the, like, we were talking about earlier, like, as far as, like, people that are incarcerated, it's like, like, he wasn't a bank robber. He might not have been doing it. He didn't want to be rich. He wasn't going to rob in the bank to be wealthy. He probably was battling a habit, and trying to find a habit. So it's like, if he could have maybe received the proper help, he would have never had to rob a bank. Would have never.
Yeah, he had been an addict since the age of 14. He didn't have a good home life growing up. That I learned about, like, after the fact, because I don't even know anyone from my dad's side of the family, because he kept me away from them.
Well, and they might have all been kind of self-destructive. He didn't have a good environment.
Yeah, he didn't want to be around him either. Like, he talked to his one sister maybe a few times, but he didn't want me around it, so whatever that reason was.
It's like the snowball effect, you know what I mean? Like, to where, like, again, like, just maybe the right amount of help at the right time would have changed so many people's lives.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
Right, just like, the smallest thing could have changed something.
Yeah, and, like, I used to hate him, obviously, when I was younger, because I didn't understand.
I'm sure you go through phases.
When I was younger, I was like, I hate drug addicts. They're pieces of fucking shit. But really, I'm like, now I look at it in a whole different perspective. Because, like, my dad was one, and I loved the hell out of him.
Right.
And I was like, I don't hate you anymore for it. I was like, do I wish it wasn't this way? Yeah, but I had a grandpa who freaking... Yeah, he was an alcoholic. Well, my grandpa was an alcoholic and freaking drank all the time, and, like, he got older, and they're like, you need to stop drinking, but he would keep drinking. I was like, how do you tell an 80-year-old man he can't fucking drink anymore? And like, how do you? And my dad was like 60 something when he passed away. I'm like, how do you tell them like stop being an addict?
Right. Well,
I'm like, by that time, it's like you've been doing it more than half your life. Keep going.
Anybody walking around addicted to drugs or anything wants to be that way. It's like, it's like not a choice at that point.
Yeah.
It's a choice when you first start, but then you can't really break the cycle. It's like smoking cigarettes, you know?
And it's so funny you said that, because like she said about it being a disease, and a lot of people get up in arms about that. It's like, well, okay, we look at cancer from cigarettes as a disease, and we have all this sympathy. So it's like, sure, the disease might be self-inflicted, but it's still a disease, and it's still like, once you've essentially made that first mistake, that initial mistake, and now you've got a disease because of it, we still should be helping you. We should still be sympathizing with who you are.
It's so easy to say, oh, I'm going to quit. Like, I've said I'm going to quit how many times now? Like, it's been 3 years. It's been longer. It's been 5 years that I've been vaping consistently. And I've been saying I've been going to quit for the last 2.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, again, everybody wants to be a better person, you know, but not everybody has the right resources. Not everybody has the right support system, you know, and society has kind of pushed people that, can't help themselves into a corner. It's where like, well, I guess I'm not good enough. It's like, well,
and some go out and reach help. Like my dad, he would go in and out of rehab, and he'd get clean for like a year to 6 months, and then right back to it again. Like I remember I was 14 getting phone calls from rehabs because I was the only person he had. I was like, you should have told them my age. They probably would have never called me. But I got a phone call from, and I didn't answer it, didn't know the phone number, and there's this message. They're like, hey, this is your dad's rehab counselor. Give us a call back. So I called them. They're like, oh, your dad got kicked out of rehab because he brought drugs in. I was like, do you know how old I am? I am 14. They're like, oh. I'm like, yeah. I was like, will you quit putting me down as your emergency contact? I was like, you need to find somebody. I was like, put mom down.
You need to find somebody
I was like, I know you both hate each other, but use her.
It's like, I'm a child. You're like, I'm not equipped for this.
Exactly,
yeah. So I was like, whatever.
Unfortunately, that kind of stuff kind of, prepares you a little bit,
Yeah, so, I said, obviously, I didn't want him to die, but like getting the call, because they reached out through me through Facebook Messenger. He was in
Oh my
god. Yeah, it was great. He was like, I don't know what they're freaking called. He was like in a mission down in Newcastle, and freaking one of the guys who worked there, they couldn't find a next of kin for him. He didn't have any paperwork. Someone stole his wallet.
Lived that lifestyle for so long. Like, who do you have wrote down as a contact for anybody other than your dealer or?
Yeah,
exactly. You don't want to call them and be like, hey, do you know who we can call?
We see so many reports of these people, like even as close as Philly and like what is it, Kensington? It's like these people are like almost anonymous. I mean, these people die, and like who do they even notify? Like, who are you calling? I mean, like, so it's like these people.
A couple of Jane Does and like John Does in Pennsylvania, and it's actually very.
So it's kind of scary because I mean, like, imagine being on the other side. You're the family member. Like, I haven't heard from my dad in 5 years. I don't know if he's dead, alive, if he's still living on the same street corner that he was.
Yep.
It's like, man.
At that point, it's like you already grieved them, Like.
Yeah, it's like you've almost worked through losing them multiple times to where now that whenever he's actually gone, it's almost like desensitized you a little bit to the fact.
Yeah. Like I said, someone who worked there texted me, and they're like, hey, the pastor, they're like, because they figured out I was his daughter through Facebook, and they're like, the pastor would like you to give him a call at this number, and I was like, this is going one of two ways. Either you just got kicked out of somewhere again, or they're going to tell me you're dead.
Wow.
And I knew before I even made the phone call, I was like, this is the phone call.
Where did he die?
No, Newcastle.
Oh, he
in
was
the middle
at
of a
this
parking
church.
lot.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yep, just in the middle of the parking lot in December.
I thought he was in rehab or something.
And
the mission he was at was sort of like a rehab, I guess. Like church-based.
Yeah, I think that they obviously blend them a little bit.
Yeah, it was blended very much so.
I'm sure he was probably getting.
You go to and then leave. Like, you're not just stuck there.
Right.
For
It's not like a halfway house so much, but.
I was just glad they got a hold of me because this was the day after the fact.
Wow.
It was crazy because I was at work. And my dad called me. I could tell he was high because he rambles when he's high and he's all over the place. I'm like, all right, you're annoying me right now. I was like, I'll call you back in a little bit. I was like, I'll call you back in a little bit. I was like, I love you, but I gotta go. I'm finishing up work. And 2 hours later, I never called him back, but he was dead. So he wouldn't have even answered the phone if I did. So, and then I found out the next day, and I was like, nice, awesome, great.
Did they have any information? I mean, like, I don't know if you looked for it or not, but did they have any information, like, how long he had been there? Like, was he doing well? Did he did he have a relapse, or maybe, because sometimes natural causes come just from long time use.
I knew he had been relapsing pretty hard for like the last year, like.
Oh, I guess you were in contact with him. I guess.
Yeah, we stayed in contact, and like he would never tell me anything that was really ever going on. Like he would tell me if he was in the hospital.
Right, and I'm sure you didn't cry.
Yeah, and I'm not dumb. I know why you're in there.
Right.
Yeah, he had a history. When he got older, he had a history of OD, and I was like, one day you're gonna do it, and you're gonna fucking overdo it, and you're not gonna come back. And I was like, sure as fuck you did.
Yeah.
But freaking, like I said, wasn't a surprise. But
yeah, unfortunately, like,
and it's better that way. Like, all right, you're not doing this anymore.
Well,
yeah, it sucks.
It's a long life of suffering and chasing something that you'll never achieve, because it's like, that piece of, whatever, that piece even that he's chasing, whatever he's high, it's like that's only a short-lived thing. Like, you're never, it's unattainable, and like, especially whenever the thing that you need to feel that is killing you at the same time, physically on the inside. It's like, I mean, you're literally doing everything to get it, and it's killing you in the process. Like, you're literally committing suicide. It's essentially the same thing as killing yourself. And you're trapped in it. So I mean, unfortunately, like, again, I mean, who knows what he would have needed to break free of it, because a lot of times it's geographical. You have too many hot spots. You have too many things like, that's where I scored. That's where I get it. You know what I mean? So you almost need complete disassociation with everything.
Like your roots, like, like, especially in, like, areas like this. This is a very high drug area, and it's not just, like, marijuana.
Anymore,
like,
now it's everything.
Heroin problems and, like,
a lot of meth around here.
A lot of meth, and it's
crazy.
so bad.
Right.
We've lost, like, not, like, good friends, but, like, a lot of people we knew, a lot of people we grew up with. And it's very difficult.
Well, and that's what I mean. Not everything, like, they got places like, whatever, these UPMC places and all stuff, like, that's not always the right avenue for people.
No, it's not.
Because 98% of them people are never going to walk into that place to get help.
Exactly.
There needs to be someone essentially on the streets that's a real person that they can say, wow, this person just doesn't have some ulterior motive. They're not just getting a paycheck for this.
Yeah, like they're here to help.
Like, and that's where there should be some real ground level resources for people. And, like, maybe they're just coming in and just fucking talking to you for a minute, and, like, understanding maybe where they're at. Maybe you're helping them get a shower or get, cleaned up. Like, not everything's like, let me force you into rehab and let me get you fucking, quarantined and, separate you from, everybody you love. Like, it's not always the right answer. It's not cut and dry like that, But I think it's interesting because, again, this happening to you obviously has given you a different perspective on not just drug addicts, but people that are incarcerated. And now you're in this position to where you have a better mind walking in there every day. You're not going to look at someone that's in there that was addicted to drugs and going through withdrawal as like, you piece of garbage. It's so easy to do.
It's someone's brother or someone's sister, child, parent. Like,
that's
there's still a person at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's probably like the hardest part of working at my job is like I have a different mindset than a lot of people I work with.
Right. You see someone's dad going through withdrawal in the inside. It's like, I'm sure you associate that real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and freaking... What? They do death by delivery charges now? Yeah. I don't agree with them.
Oh, you mean if I delivered some drug and somebody died from it?
Yeah. I personally don't agree with it, just for the sole fact of, okay, my dad died of an overdose. If you walked up, if Newcastle PD called me today and was like, hey, like, this guy was known to sell drugs to your dad, like, he's the one who did it, he's now incarcerated. All right, you didn't change the fact he's still dead.
Yeah, exactly.
If it wasn't that dealer, it would have been the next one. I was like, either they're gonna get it either way.
From somewhere.
I was like, do something different for these guys.
They buy it from someone else too, so they don't know. If they
I'm like, them doing time in jail isn't gonna change anything.
Well, and when you get clean, you don't know your intake level when you do it again.
Yeah,
and that's a lot of times when they overdose.
Yep. I was like,
what does that mean? So, like, after you go,
do too much. They think they can
after you go through withdrawal, you're clean, then you get out and you relapse. Obviously, you can't go back into what you were doing before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in most cases, they overdo it.
That's how
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You know, you.
died.
Yeah, but I had a guy. I did like a complete 180 from jobs. I went from being a manager at McDonald's to working in corrections. But we had, I had a guy who OD'd in the bathroom. Had been clean for like 2 years.
At the fast food job.
Yeah, he
No.
worked. I could tell he was fucked up that morning when he came in, and I know I should have sent him home as a manager. I'm glad I didn't, because he'd probably be dead today if I did. Because we ended up finding him. Luckily, we got him breathing again, so that was cool. But I was like, you were clean for 2 years. I was like, and you only did a little bit. I was like, look what it did to you.
Yeah.
I was like, you almost died. I was like, he's been clean since. I was like, thank God.
Well, in 2 years off of it, you know, obviously, like you said,
your tolerance isn't the same. You can't handle what you were doing beforehand.
And who knows what is now in that drug that wasn't in it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Because, boy, some weird shit's getting put into drugs.
And
like,
everything's getting, like, laced around here. And it's
Well,
been really scary. Yeah.
well, we don't know much about,
Exactly.
you know, what's locally going on. But
I
again,
don't even know.
you know, we do a lot of research. This is stuff that, you know, interests us, you know, and it's a big problem. Like I said, and it's like it's only a matter of time before it does affect small towns, you know, and like I said, these big cities that, I mean, eventually those people trickle into these small areas, you know, and like Philly and like, I don't know how bad, like State College, stuff like that, but it's not too far away from us to where, like, even New York, you know, I mean, like a lot of the stuff coming down from New York, I'm sure, you know, so it's like you almost have to you have to cut it off at the source, because right now, I mean, like, there's so much nasty shit. Like, I mean, it's like tranquilizer. It's like fentanyls and everything.
Yeah, and it's so
You know.
addictive. Like, I did not realize how addicting that stuff was until I had to have surgery. I had surgery.
And they give you fentanyl.
Yeah, they did not. I wish they would have told me what they were giving me, but yet again, I was pretty hysterical. But they did not tell me. They're like, we're just going to give you something for the pain. Because I couldn't walk. I couldn't do nothing. I was internally bleeding. They shot me up with fentanyl. I was convinced I could go home.
Yeah.
I felt that great.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't need surgery. I'm fine. They're like, if you go home, you're dying. I was
Oh
like,
my
no, I'm not.
God.
Yeah.
I could walk again. And I was like, I
Yeah.
can see why people get addicted. I was like, that is a high I've never known before. And
Exactly.
that was sort of great. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, and the
And I
thing
was-
that
That's
sucks.
the controlled version.
Is
Yeah,
that-
that's the controlled
For
version.
the hospital. That's
Well, and that's
not
what I'm
you
saying
get
is
on
like,
the street.
and you just admitted, like, well, I really didn't know what they were giving me, or, you know, what it was. If I would have known, I probably would have said no.
Yeah, I would have said no.
And it's like, but you trust your doctors and you trust that they're going to give you something that is not going to potentially ruin your life. But what if you had an addictive personality and you're like, oh my God, this is what fentanyl feels like? I'm going to go out in the streets tomorrow and buy some.
Well, and I do, like, both sides of my family. Like, my mom did drugs, too, for the longest time.
Well, there you go, right.
And
So actually-
alcoholism runs in my family. I have a very addictive personality.
Right, so they
Like,
could have fucking
they-
sent you on a whole world.
Yeah, I was like, that, like, I actively tell people that is a high I will forever chase for the rest of my life. Will I go out and look for it? No, I have a little more sense. I don't want to end up like the people I
Willpower.
know.
Exactly.
I was like, I have willpower for it, but
You know, but yeah.
But God give it to the
understand-
wrong-
taste. It's like
It's a little bit
Yeah.
scary to think, like I said, and they're just, yeah, we'll just administer 4 milliliters of that to that guy, that guy, that guy. I
No,
mean, they're just
exactly.
pumping it full of people, and then they tell you that fucking drugs are bad and fentanyl is bad, don't buy it on the streets. But we'll give it to you in here.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, like, it just, those are some things that, like I said, as a person who's always looked at things, like, I mean, I was always an advocate for medical marijuana even before it became a publicly available thing. And it's like, because you look at these medications and who's giving them to you and their incentives and their motives to give them to you, it's like, boy, there's just a lot of confusion there. It's like a lot of hypocrite bullshit
yeah, it's
there.
back and forth, and then
You know, like, so that's where, like, again, these places down here, like with the float tank and even with the sauna and like IV hydration, I mean, like, there's a lot of stuff that, like, to where normally if you were going through a withdrawal, there might be other alternatives to where, like, maybe you just need to replenish yourself and stay off the
Exactly.
drugs. You know, like, if you have enough willpower to stay out of the environment and not go purchase it, but your body just needs to be brought back to a healthy state. I mean, there's a lot of stuff now that, like, again, I can't say, well, stay off the drugs, but take these 3 pills.
yeah.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, I would rather say stay off the drugs and come get IV hydration and come, you know, sit in a float tank and meditate and come here and sit in the spa and, you know, get actual fucking help and change the direction of purchasing or going to get my medication because
Yeah.
the pharmacy's just a fucking drug dealer in a lab coat.
Yeah, it really is.
So it's like it's a weird slope. Well, I don't like hypocrites. So it's like, how can you tell me that if I get it off of this guy, it's bad. If I get it off of you, it's fine.
No,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, I was not happy when they decided not to tell me. They told me after the fact. I'm like, what did you give me? Because I decided to ask. I'm like, what the hell did you give me? They're like, shot you up with some fentanyl. I was like, oh.
What happened to you that they gave it to you again? Did I miss it?
I had surgery.
Okay.
I was internally bleeding, and it was, I couldn't walk. I was
so
in
it was like an emergency
pain.
surgery.
Yeah.
So you would have taken anything that they were going to give you anyway, because you might have been dying.
Yeah.
Internal bleeding is pretty serious.
Yeah. I was like, all right. Yeah, but after the fact, they gave it to me before I went in for surgery. I was fully convinced that I was fine and I could go home.
It's like,
I looked at my nurse and I was like, do I have to have surgery? I feel fine now.
Right.
And she's like, yeah, you do. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Wild,
I guess.
and
you say so.
Again.
Because like I said, I couldn't walk when I went in there. They shot me up with that, and I could walk. I was fine. I couldn't feel anything.
After I had the baby, I'm like, oh, I'm good. Let's go. And no, that wore off.
Well, it's like when you can't feel even that they're even in there cutting you open and shit like that. Like that better be some strong shit. Like if they have, like I'm watching them put her fucking organs on a fucking table, and I'm like, she's awake. You're
She's
fucking
awake.
nuts.
Are you kidding me?
I'm like, oh my god.
Put her out.
No, I was like,
So it's like, trust your doctors. Obviously, 9 times out of 10, like you want to trust your doctors, but it is a little bit scary, like I said, because all it takes in some cases is one experience with a drug like that to be completely hooked.
Yeah,
so it's like the only thing I can compare it to is I had kidney stones one time, and again, I don't even take Tylenol for a headache. I have been beating myself up for 30 years riding BMX. I don't take pills. I don't take pain medication. Nothing. I smoke weed. That's it. And smoke cigarettes. I had a kidney stone, and I was literally on the fucking floor of the waiting room of the emergency room, like in pain, screaming at the lady to let me in for intake so I can get seen.
Yeah.
Literally, what is taking so long?
No, exactly.
I'm never, ever, ever that big of a pussy when it comes to pain.
Yeah.
But this was excruciating. So they gave me
Internal pain
Percocet.
is
They gave me
almost the
Perc
worst.
10s for these kidney stones, and I'm like, I'm not taking them. I don't care. I'm not taking them. But it got to a point where I had no choice. I could not even walk. I couldn't stand, even lay there. But I'm telling you what, started taking them. I'm like, okay, well, there. I took away my pain. I can function. And then I'm like, wait a minute. I found myself starting to kind of take them when I wasn't in pain. I'm like, boy, I feel really, really good.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy.
And that's when it gets scary.
And so I gave them, I put them away. I'm like, don't let me fucking take those. And then I'm like, where are them things? I kind of fucking miss feeling like that a little bit,
I had my wisdom teeth out when I was 14, 15 years old. They gave me 15 pills of hydrocodone.
So that's like a Vicodin or something like that, right? What would be like a...
Yeah. Nice pain pill is what it is. I took one the first day. Decided I liked it so much. I was like, I'm going to take these when I get better. And I did. And I was like, I need... at 14, 15 years old. Like I said, I have a pretty addictive personality. It's probably not going to take much to ever get me.
Well,
and I was like, good thing I don't got another prescription for these, or I'd probably be going to get them.
Right. Well,
and and they just handed me those at 14, 15.
It's like turning the light on. Like, wow, everything looks much better now. I feel much happier.
Yeah.
A much nicer person, and that's why you got people like I knew people in high school, and I won't name anybody, but I had friends that were down that path, got addicted to pain pills and stuff like that, and then I was watching them outside in the yard slamming their hands in car doors trying to break their hands to go get pain pills, and then I'm laughing at them and they come back with high strength ibuprofen. Like, that's all they gave you?
But those are actually work really good too.
Yeah.
They're probably bad too. That's what I mean. Like I don't like taking.
Yeah, I don't take. If I don't have to take a pain pill, I'll suffer through it.
No, most of the time, if I'm like I have a headache or a migraine, I probably need water. You know what I mean? Like water is the key to life. Normally if you feel like crap, you're dehydrated 9 times out of 10. Start there.
Yeah, I don't take anything anymore. I refuse. I'm like, no. I understand myself enough that if this gets out of hand, I'm going down the wrong path. Very short. And it won't take me long.
Yeah, not everyone can make that choice for themselves.
I was pretty fortunate. Like I had 2 parents. Like I said, my mom got clean. She cut cold turkey. from
Wow.
Married,
yeah, got remarried. She turned her whole life around. I
She
mean,
did.
my dad tried to, unfortunately,
You wouldn't
didn't
even believe
success-
the person that she used to be if you saw her now.
Yeah,
You wouldn't.
Really?
she tells me some crazy stories.
Yeah.
I'm like, you should be dead.
Right. Isn't
I'm
that
like,
wild?
what the hell were you doing? I was like,
Well,
why are you still here right now?
That's probably where you get your willpower. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's
Because
definitely
again,
from her.
you get a little bit of that taste of like maybe some of the genetics that you got from your dad's family to where like you feel that little bit of that addictive personality, but you have enough of your mom in you that you have that willpower to stop it.
Yeah,
You have a clean
thank
enough head that
Yeah.
you can say that's not a path I want to see.
Yeah,
You know,
and-
and like especially like again anybody that's been around somebody that's experienced addiction, like usually that's enough. You know, like you're like I'm never gonna go down that
yeah.
path.
And I was lucky. Like both my parents, like they would talk to me. They're like, don't ever get into this crap. And some kids aren't lucky. Like we had an inmate in who I knew from when I was little. My dad used to go get high with him.
Wow.
That guy has a son. His son turned out way different than I did.
Really.
Was doing state time and on drugs. I'm like, we went down two completely different paths.
It's the pain.
Yeah, and then it's like,
Emotional.
yeah.
Well,
and
and a lot of people feel like, well, if that's all I'm destined to do,
And
it's
then
like
they-
that's my dad. Like,
Yeah.
And you can't let that stuff control you. Like,
Yeah, that was hard because, like, even when I was younger, like, that's another reason why I got out of this town was I had parents telling their little kids, "Oh, don't be friends with her. She's gonna be nothing but a drug addict in and out of jail."
exactly.
that's crazy.
And
Yeah.
I'm
I
in
mean-
and out of jail, just in a different way now.
Right.
Like, haha.
See, that would be the opening to your stand-up bit. You know what I mean? Like, you'd have to like check your time card. Be like, listen, I've been in and out of jail fucking 750 times in the last 2 years. That's
Yeah.
the fucking opening line to your bit. How many times have you entered the jail in the last fucking That's hilarious.
Yeah. So I
so
did
you-
maybe that's why I did work at the jail was like a big fuck you. Like, all right, in and
And-
out of jail, but in a different way.
And
Yeah.
I think again, it's obviously not something you did consciously. You didn't say, you know what, I'm going to take a stand and I'm going to be in this position instead. You
Yeah,
know?
like I said, corrections was never on my radar. I did not want to work in corrections. I definitely didn't. My dad was at the county jail. I remember going to visit my dad in the visiting place.
Yeah.
I never wanted. I didn't want to work there, and that's where I ended up. And
Well, and
like
even your perception of the people that were looking over your dad and locking up your dad, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure it's sometimes, obviously that's your dad. You're going to defend him. So it's like looking at the law and maybe how he was wrongfully, I mean? It's like, I'm sure that like multiple times I had thought about like, my brother had gotten in trouble. It's like, what, fuck the police,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, he was just being an idiot, but like, he shouldn't be locked up. It's like, but at the same time, you've allowed yourself to kind of float into an environment where now you can be a difference in somebody else's situation.
in someone
there.
else's life, and that's my big push is
And
I want to
obviously,
make a change for somebody.
obviously, your future you plan to be in some form of psychology,
Yeah,
and maybe working with people that are previously incarcerated.
yeah. Right now I'm looking into getting my master's in addictions counseling. I
Okay.
would like to work with addicts. I really
Okay.
would. I think that's my big push is working with them, especially no one was there for my dad. So.
Right. Well, and that's her passion too. So I mean, like that's something that like maybe even you two could even talk about and work through it. Because like again, this area in any area, especially small towns where it gets really neglected, because it's easy to look and point at a problem in a big city, the homeless problem, the drug problem. But in small towns, it's like it gets so overlooked.
Mhm.
Exactly.
You know,
because
most of
we
those-
like shun it almost. We don't want to like.
We
Not we,
don't
but,
want to
they
talk
wanna-
about
They
it.
don't want to believe
It-
it's there. They don't want to sweep it under the
Well,
rug.
yeah.
I've been trying to push CRFS
Yeah.
work on people.
Well,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
something we notice all the time, it's like, okay, we look at Philly, like I said, you look at these big cities with like a very apparent homeless problem. We don't really have that, but we still have the same problems with mental health and addiction and problems. Just because they're maybe living in their mom's basement or maybe they have a fucking
Doesn't
house.
mean it's not here.
Right, you might not
Exactly.
see it on the streets, but like I guarantee
it's
you start
hidden.
looking around it,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've always been a pretty observant person. Like, I like watching people, which I don't understand why, because
Look into certified recovery specialist. That's what I do.
like
Well-
criminology has like focuses more on sociology. I hate sociology with a burning passion. I
Really?
could care less how we interact with one of each other. I could
Right.
care like me and Erin. I don't care about our interactions. I want to know what's going on in your head
Right.
more. That's why I chose to do a second major in psychology. But also, I like sitting and watching people, so I don't get it. And that you can pinpoint
You can
very
read
easily.
people.
Yeah, it's especially in my job.
well, I was gonna say few people can though, because you watching somebody you're going to have a different intake than me watching somebody. Yep. So it's like, you have a gift, just like, anybody that's really, really passionate about helping somebody that's struggling. It's like, that takes a really selfless person. And like, we need more people that are in those positions like that, because so many people find those jobs because it's an easy paycheck, or it's easy, easy money or whatever. It's an easy degree, which it probably isn't, it probably isn't an easy degree to get. But like, I just have heard so many people like interacting with, whether they're a counselor or in a rehab, and it's like, you almost feel like they're judging you.
Exactly.
And you're not going to open up to somebody if you feel like, again, that they're not there for your best interest. And it's like, it doesn't matter if it's at the welfare office, if they're looking at you like they're a criminal or a drug addict, or at the rehab or the jail. If that's how you feel like the public is going to perceive you, why are you going to get up and get help?
Yeah.
You're going to feel like you don't deserve it,
Counselors should have a history with drugs or marijuana or something.
Yeah,
but, it helps,
Yeah, but
you can be listen, I did it, I got clean.
And maybe you don't have to necessarily be addicted to drugs to understand it, but you have a very close relationship.
Have a close relationship with it.
You have seen it firsthand, and you've been on the receiving end, emotionally, and attached to someone who's going through that struggle. Which again,
it puts you on a different understanding than
Well, if you haven't been in those shoes, it's really hard to understand someone that's going through that. And again, it's really easy for me to sit here and write you a whole regimen of what you should do. Exactly. But if I've never been in that situation, how the hell can I say that's going to help?
Yeah. How can that's my biggest pet peeve is okay, why are you in this field if you don't know exactly what? You can only learn so much in school.
Right. Well, and reading a book is only going to show you so much.
Yeah. You have to.
Especially we're dealing with human beings here. It's like it's not black and white. Every single human is different, and the fucking brain is so complex. Mm-hmm. It's like navigating why someone does something, especially when it's again, that's a self-inflicted wound. If you had seen somebody on the street just over there stabbing themselves, would you just it's just a fucking nut job, or would you try to understand why the fuck would anyone do something like that?
Yeah, what are you? What is going on in there?
To do that to yourself,
Yeah, I'm taking a class right now, neurobiology and addiction.
Ooh, that would be fascinating.
Super complicated. I can tell you that. I don't understand it.
Probably gives you a little bit of a headache to try to wrap your head around it.
I have no idea what any of this means. Yeah.
But like you said about wires being crossed.
Yeah, and people don't understand that either. They're like, oh no, it's a choice. And I'm like, no, something is chemically being changed in their brain, and you just don't understand it, and neither do I. And I could be, like I said, taking the class, still don't understand it.
Right.
I don't.
Yeah, that's for much smarter people than us to understand and figure out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, at least we're talking about it, because again, so few people even care enough to really break down. Well, it's like I said, it's so easy to write it off, and say it's just someone that does drugs and are addicted, and it's a piece of shit society. But to understand why the real cause is, something has to drive somebody to want to be doing drugs,
Yeah, again, something drives everybody.
It's we all know as a society that heroin kills people. So it's but there's still people every day that do heroin for the first time. It's so something is driving them to doing something that they know might kill them, even the first time they do it.
Yeah, and see, that's another thing that I don't like about the death by delivery charges. My dad's had a friend that has OD'd. Every drug addict probably knows someone who has OD'd at least once. It's
jail time.
It's not. That's why I think it's dumb. I was there's so much yes, they're in addiction, but they still know what's going on. I was you can't throwing these people in jail just for a death by delivery charge. I was it's back and forth.
It's like that receiving stolen property charge. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's
how the hell was I supposed to know?
You would have no idea, right?
Yeah, my grandpa got hit with that from a pretty big case back a couple of years ago. My grandpa's I didn't know these guns were stolen.
You could have no knowledge of who received it, who bought it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could have perfectly fine drugs and legal drugs, and then I sell it to somebody, they make it into something that could kill somebody, and then it kills somebody, and I'm at fault?
Yeah, exactly. It falls back on you.
How many pharmacists are being charged with death by delivery? Because if I sold you fucking Percocet, I got it from the pharmacy. I got it from a doctor. So those motherfuckers being charged with death by delivery?
No, you are.
You don't even have to sell it now, though. You can give it to someone, and you got a felony.
Yep.
And you don't even have to die if they know about it.
Yep.
And maybe there should be, some repercussions. I mean, like, obviously, if
I'm
I'm
not saying
dealing
there
drugs
should be no
and
repercussions, but
like jail time
sticking them in.
Extreme.
What?
That's what I like. Why are we putting people into this environment for low, like, these aren't like high crimes, like they shouldn't be in with these other people.
probably
Like,
case
there
by
should be a
case,
separate institution for them,
like if I'm, making a deadly fucking mixture of heroin and then distributing it to a large number of people, and a large number of people are dying. But like, again, if the supply chain is unmanipulated with, and it's just somebody died because they used too much and they didn't understand their tolerance. It's like, well, really, that's not my fault.
Yeah.
I'm running a business here.
Yeah.
I just thought they were buying in bulk.
Yeah. I'm not advocating dealing drugs. I'm just saying from a perspective of like,
you gotta look at it case by case.
How responsible
it just doesn't
am
get done.
It's just
I?
like alcohol distributors. Like, is it their fault if you drink yourself to death?
Well, and if I'm taking the plane up in the air that you're about to skydive out of and you die, you signed a waiver. Well, as drug dealers have waivers. I agree that this is a deadly toxin. I agree that I purchased it.
Yeah.
You're the bartender then.
Liability is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I'm not liable for your tolerance. I'm not responsible for making sure that you know how much you can handle. I mean, it's a slippery slope, and I'm glad again that I'm not in a position to make the law.
Yeah,
and
me
I'm not
either,
in a
but it
position
should
to
be talked
decide
about.
But
someone needs to sit down and talk about it.
well, we know the system's not working because there's an overwhelming amount of people not only dying from drug addiction. There's not only an overwhelming of people addicted to drugs, homeless, people in jail. The system's not working. Unfortunately, it needs to be completely restructured. And now with all of our advancement in knowing the psychological advances of the brain and all this stuff, we should be able to figure it out. AI should be able to figure it out. There's got to be a solution to it.
Yeah. It's just no one wants to take the time to sit down and have a conversation about it, and then put in the work to actually do something about it. That's the issue. Is that no?
Yeah, because again, like, where does it start? Is it the legislation? Is it fentanyl coming in from the border? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's probably a collective of all things.
And it's
again,
like, where do you pinpoint? Where do you start working first?
Because where is it coming from? I know, like, just again, and I can only believe so much of the shit that I find on the internet. But again, statistics, like, obviously there's fentanyl that comes in from China, there's fentanyl that comes in from Mexico, there's fentanyl that comes in from everywhere. So, you could cut it off completely at the border, but then at the same time, we're putting it in our medicine and then prescribing it to people. So you mean to tell me that if I get a pill that I know that has fentanyl in it, well, maybe I don't need these pills. Maybe I am fine without them. I'm going to sell the ones I don't need.
Make some cash, yep.
You know what I mean? So it's it's not like it's an exterior problem. There's still a problem within our borders that needs to be handled. Like, there's a problem why people are doing drugs, no satisfaction in life or whatever. Like, people just don't feel like they're part of society. There's a million reasons that you can get into why people do drugs in the first place.
Yeah.
And that's essentially, you got to find the root problem. What time is it? Oh, okay. We're fucking good. You have anything else you want to talk about? I don't have any notes. As per usual.
Throw something at us.
Going into like the death by delivery, what if, like, because there's a lot of people around in this area that have like elderly grandparents they live with, and they will steal their like medications and they'll sell them. Will that go back to that grandma? Because it's her name on the prescription.
That's hard.
I guess probably just the person that stole them, But see, that's a weird thing too, because again, people that are, 50s, 60s, maybe now it's a little bit different, but I know, like, in my childhood, like, whenever I had, my great grandmother passed away, and then my, I don't know what he would have been. He was like grandfather on my mom's side, but regardless, both times they passed away, I remember as a child seeing them like flushing all over pills and stuff. Well, now they say not to do that. They have like these bags that decompose them.
Yeah,
and all this
and drop
stuff.
them off somewhere.
But that's insinuating that somebody that finds them pills doesn't want to do something nefarious with them.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because I know, just from being around delinquents and things, I know the street value of drugs. And it's like, as someone that's not a drug addict, I have no desire to take any of them pills. I'm like, you just flushed like $3,000 worth of pain pills down the toilet. I'm half tempted to fucking sell them fucking things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, there you have to understand, like, sometimes it's not an addict that's fucking creating this market.
That needs money.
Yeah, like I could do the
like
leg up.
My uncle, his dad had passed away, and they had OxyContin 80 milligram pain pills, and he had like, I think he was getting like 3 months supplies, so it was like a
Yeah.
90 fucking
No,
pill thing.
exactly.
I don't even know what the street value of that would have been, but like it's high,
Yeah.
and like he's riding around with them in his cup holder and like not locking his car, and my mom is like, "You fucking idiot! You better like somebody will break into your car, someone will kill you to take those pills."
Yeah. If
Like-
a police officer pulled him over, he could get him with like.
Well,
trying to
the funny thing
distribute.
about it is that his name and his dad's name are the same name. He was a junior and a senior, so I mean, like he could easily say, "Well, my dad just passed away. I don't know what to do with his medication." He might not have got charged,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's like you're fucking putting yourself at risk just by having them on your possession. Because, like I said, if somebody's in the parking lot of the grocery store that's a street dealer or something, and they see you got a whole pill bottle of pills in there,
They're
like they're gonna
breaking that
kill
window.
you to get to them
Exactly.
pills.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
and also you have to keep all narcotics locked up now.
Well, that's probably
You
because
have
of situations
to-
like
It
this.
goes back to the elderly.
yeah.
They have to have them locked up.
But
Yeah.
again, you have to know what the fuck that is. If I have that's just my pain medication. I take that for my neuropathy. Why would anybody want that? Why would some
exactly.
youth
Yeah, if
want
you
that?
don't have that mindset.
Yeah,
You're
you
not
don't
like worried about that. Although
Yeah, you
my
gotta-
grandson would never take my back pain medication and
Right.
sell it for crap.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe
No,
I took
why
an
would
extra.
you do
Maybe I
that?
lost one. I'm missing one, but maybe it's nothing.
No, exactly. Maybe it's my brain fog. I'm getting older. Like. you
And
never wanna,
unfortunately,
like-
that's probably where a lot of it stems from. Is
Yeah,
the
I know.
elderly.
My mom sends me into a heart attack all the time. My mom freaking has rheumatoid arthritis. She's got some pretty serious pain pills to the point where she has to fail a drug test at the doctor's office so they know she's taking them.
Yeah.
Oh, how interesting is that?
Yeah, and
Never seen it the other way like that.
Yeah, she has to.
You passed. What's
You
wrong?
passed.
Yeah.
Where are they going?
But when you're housing that kind of medication, it's
Yeah,
like if
like-
you're not taking them, what are you doing with
Yeah,
them?
well,
Exactly.
she
Why are we
has-
still filling this
she has a
prescription?
freaking habit.
Yeah.
She has a habit of, like, she goes places and it's a pain in the ass to carry around a shit ton of pill bottles.
Oh.
So she'll put them in baggies, and then forget that they're in these baggies. Forgets where she places them, and then will come at me and go, "I don't know where my pills are," and I'm like, "Well, who the hell have I brought? Like, I now have to watch who I bring into the house because, like, what the?"
Oh my
And it's usually
God.
just her misplacing them, and I'm
That's
like,
so funny. But
I'm
how?
like, right here, Mom. I was like, right
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
I was like, calm down.
But see, get her a little safe. A carryable safe.
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to do.
We have a safe. We have important stuff in there. She don't
Well,
lock
no,
it.
That's the thing. To her, it's just like it's
She
like,
keeps them in a pumpkin that you just pulled the top lid off like it's a freaking cookie jar.
we might cut that out. We don't want your mom getting fucking robbed or something. We might cut that out. but just the frivolousness of it, I mean, it's like my grandma. Like I actually seen a meme, something like that the other day, where it's like my grandma had all of her pills in like an Altoids can, and it's like, what is? I know I got to take the blue one at 4. I got to take the yellow one at 4. I'm like, she's got a whole pharmacy of fucking shit in here. It's like if someone would knock you out, they'd have a whole fucking.
Yeah, I tried to explain it. I was like, you need to put these somewhere. I was like, because quit coming at
She's
me
like, what is this? Look
saying you
this
can't
up.
find your pills because then I stress out.
That's what my mom used to do. Like, my mom, I would drive her car, like, when I was 16, 17, and, like, yes, I was a delinquent, and I would, like, smoke weed while I was driving sometimes, but, like...
You do that now.
I've never been pulled over for my driving. It's always been, like, a tail light out or a headlight out. But, like, my mom, she would take oxycodone for her Lyme's disease, for her, like, joint pain and everything. And she would, like, put some in, like, an Altoids can, or, like, to have some in the car if she was hurting and she needed. But, like, me, my car smells like weed. I have fucking oxycodone
In a Ziploc bag.
I'm gonna go to fucking prison.
Well, especially they get them all separated. They're all in a different bag or something.
Yeah.
Like, oh my
And, like,
God.
this is my mom's car. Who's
Right,
gonna
it
believe
looks
me?
totally bad.
Like, they're not gonna...
Make sure it's on the passenger side.
No,
Well, I'm
Yeah.
even worried about that with her because she takes some medications, and to me, all pills look the same.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's like
they
I got
do.
a half a pill on me. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm gonna get fucking,
No,
you know.
exactly. I'm gonna get swatted.
Like, I don't know what this is. Like,
Yeah, same.
yeah,
Get
I'm sure
away.
you don't,
Get
buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like me looking the way I do, like I look like a fucking criminal. So it's like, oh my God, geez.
Like
Like,
they're mine.
it's so funny. Like just the perception. And again, it's like, like depending on what side of the line you live on, like to those people, you don't even know what that is in that
you
world.
would never even thought
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then my mom gets paranoid and she'll come at me and she's like, "Did you take my pills?" I'm like, no, Mom, but thanks for having so much faith in your daughter. I was like, I think I've learned enough from both you and Dad. Don't do drugs.
It's like you were asking me
And
for
don't
$20 earlier. Now
mention
my
drugs.
pill's missing.
Well, and see, that's another thing. It makes you forget stuff.
Yeah,
All
and I'm
these
like,
pills, it makes you forget even the stuff. Like,
yeah, and then I have to go around the house finding them, and then we usually get in a fight because she's accusing me. I'm like, I'm not a drug addict. I was like, would you calm down? I was like, or did you check your purse?
Yeah, it's all the way at the bottom.
She's like, no.
But like I remember being a kid and like my grandma would be like, grab that pill book. I gotta figure out what this is. I just found a pill in my purse. I don't know what the fuck it is. I'm looking through the pill dictionary.
Oh my god, that's my mother.
That's
my mother.
Pre-internet.
She'll be digging in her
it.
purse, and she's like, I don't know what that is. And I'm like, it's just a random pill. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Well, especially it's like, well, like you're supposed to take these. So like, if there's one here, what day did you not have it? Like you're fucking like.
Or did you dump them out? And
That's what was going on Wednesday. Oh.
It's like Jesus.
It's like, man. Oh, well, like it's also scary too. With like you said, the whole forgetting. It's like, well, did I take it? Well, I don't know if I took it, so I don't want to be without it. So I got to take another one. Now I'm fucking really fucked up.
Yeah.
Because I did
now
that
I'm
with
really
the whole
feeling it.
with the whole fucking kidney stone thing. Because there are days where I would just tough it out, and like again, I don't want to take it if I don't need it. So like I'd really just tough it out. I'm like, well, wait. I feel all right. Did I take it?
Yeah.
Maybe I need it. I don't like. I would double up sometimes. I'm like, oh no, I can't do anything. I just probably cancel my tattoo for the day because I can't even fucking walk.
Yeah.
So it's dangerous. It's a slippery slope with medication because it's a cute little thing, and like who the fuck?
Quick, it's easy.
Comedian. I don't know if you guys listen. I'm obviously big into comedy and stuff like that, but there's actually a comedian, Casey Rocket, that does a bit, and he's like, "You want me to stop taking 15 Vicodin? Quit making them so easy to take. Why are they so small?" He's like, if a fucking Vicodin was the size of a double quarter pounder, I could only take half of one. You know what I mean? Like, boy, I'd love to take the other half of that Vicodin, but I'm fucking full. He's like, oh my god, you don't want me to take so many. Quit making them fit so nicely in my hand. He's like, he's right. Why do they make them? Oh, this one's pink. This one's yellow. This one's the star shape. To a
it's
kid
like
even.
Like candy.
It is like candy.
So we could maybe make them a little bit harder to take. Like I remember being a kid, like having to take antibiotics or taking a medication or something like that. Like I'm like throwing up, having to swallow it.
Yeah. Lucky
Keep
for me,
them that size.
Thank God when I was a kid, I didn't.
I guess people would just crush it up then. That's why people just crush them up.
Yep.
Because even my grandma.
Medicines you have to crush them.
Well, even my grandma was gonna say she had like a pill crusher, and I felt like a drug dealer going to buy one at Rite Aid for her. She's like, well, she can't chew it or she can't, stand the taste, so she would crush it up and put it in her drinks. It's like, well, that's fucking dangerous. You sell these right in the counter?
These? Probably for cheap too.
Are you screening everybody that's buying these? Because which one has the Vicodin in it? Shit. Is that your coffee? I feel really fucking good. Man, think about that.
Yeah.
Lucky for me, freaking pills would never be on my radar. You could give me the tiniest little pill and I'm gonna gag on it.
I know.
Like I just smashed my hand at work and they gave me like anti-inflammatories because I still can't feel two of my fingers. It's not broken, but they gave me. They're just super tiny and I still gagged on it. And I'm like, like, let me just throw up real quick.
I don't swallow anything.
I guess that.
I'm like, ew. I was like,
no, and then there's people like I just talked about it on the last one, but like my dad has 5 herniated discs in his back, and he's had that since he was like 19. He fell through the floor of a sawmill, so he's been on medicine his entire existence, pretty much his entire adult life. He's been on like high prescription pain medication. Yeah, and it's like he literally he just chews them up like they're fucking like literally like they're candy. Like he'll just chew them up. He doesn't need a drink or nothing.
I watch my mom. She'll throw like 8 pills in her freaking hand and then
swallow
and down them. And I'm like, what are you doing, crazy? I'm like, what the hell?
And then the fucked up part about it, it's like, then they'll tell you, well, you know what, we're gonna have to cut you off all this pain medication because you're smoking weed. It's like, well, that doesn't even make any sense. I even had a relative that was gonna get a heart transplant, and they were about to. I mean, I think they actually took him off the transplant list because he pissed dirty.
Yeah.
It was only because this new fucking technology came out with 3D printing. He actually has a 3D printed thing encased around his heart that pumps his heart.
Ooh,
Only because of that, they were ready to let him die because he
Yeah.
smoked weed.
No,
You're like,
exactly.
Christ.
I was like, you got. And I was only like 15 when this happened. Like I said, this was before medical marijuana and all this stuff really took a wave. You
Yeah.
know,
That's what
but.
gets people in jail and in trouble
And, like,
too when they
even
cut you
just
off.
But there, it's like, here's a society and doctors that prescribed, like my dad, for 30 years, pain medication, knowing that, like, I mean, like, the highest level of addictive pain medication for
And,
30
like, the
years.
kidney issues,
And then as
the
soon as,
liver
like, oh,
issues,
well, now we got to start piss
everything.
testing you to give you your
Yeah.
prescription. Well, oh, wait, you smoke weed? No pill. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
now go be in pain for the rest of your life because you
Yeah.
smoke weed. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like, I'll get you completely hooked on them and dependent on them, but I'll take them away as soon as you do something we don't like.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
so
not
like,
sure
are you
if
really
it's
here to
every
help
single one
people?
of our borders, but at least 3 of our bordering states have recreational marijuana. Like,
Yeah.
what's stopping us? Like,
Yeah, it's a weird thing, you
like-
know. Especially like, I mean, you see they sell it in the fucking gas stations now, like, and you know, I don't know, like, if they really even bother with you, you know, anymore with it, you know. You know, I spoke to a police officer. I don't know if I actually talked to him about that, but that's one thing that was like on my list of things. Like, if you stop somebody and they have like one of these gas store bought vapes or something like that, like, are you really fucking with them over that anymore? Because it seems
It's-
a little
yeah.
petty,
it
and you know what the
depends,
trajectory
like,
is with
yeah.
marijuana. It's really
There's
loosening
a couple
up.
good cops in
It's
this
that
town,
gray
there is,
area.
but there are a few that have like
Right.
0 tolerance. They
Yeah.
don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a shame. I mean,
She
and,
doesn't.
and again, it's just
well,
like,
they can edit it out if they need
yeah,
to.
yeah, this isn't
Just name
live.
drop.
But again, it goes back to like
He
whether you're a
does.
police
Yeah.
officer on the streets or you're a CO working on the inside. Like, if you have that stick up your ass
Yeah.
to where, like, listen, it's the law and I'm here to enforce it, then we're gonna have a very difficult time
Exactly.
communicating and getting
he-
along.
Yeah.
Like,
He's the type. I've
es-
seen him at Sheets off
especially
duty, and
because
he's
I
given
hate
me
to
trouble
tell ya,
before. Like, it's
but-
like, dude, you're not even on
like-
the clock. Get out of my fucking face.
like through,
Like, I don't care.
Fuck
I
out
don't
of my face.
care.
Right?
it's like, you're a civilian right now, dude.
Exactly.
You don't matter.
Yeah.
Stand up
And it's
for
always
yourself.
because,
You
like, it's
better
like,
call
oh,
your homies.
what do I smell there? It's like, you can smell whatever the fuck you want to smell. If I'm not
I'd be
actively,
like, I
if
just
you're not
smoked
seeing
weed,
me give
asshole.
her something, like, don't stop me. You have
Light it
no
up right now.
interaction with me right now.
Yeah,
You're not
I
in your
don't
suit.
like
yeah,
the perception.
Exactly. You don't
You
scare
know,
me.
especially like I said, like through evolution, we're moving in a different direction as
Yeah.
a society. Like, come
And some of them are
on.
like
Yeah.
older people, which I hate to say it, but they don't ever change their
No, they
minds. You
don't.
get them
Yeah.
stuck in their goddamn way, and they won't change.
Which
like-
is hard. Change is probably inevitably the
change is
hardest
so-
thing to do.
Yeah,
It's
especially
hard.
if you've gone your whole life and now world's taking a 180.
Right.
Where do you fall on that line?
Well, and I've
Yeah,
always said, like, I'm like a
exactly.
chameleon. You know what I mean? Like, essentially any environment I'm in, I can adapt. I
Yeah.
can change. I'm pretty flexible, especially because I'm comfortable in my own skin, which I think a lot of people are not.
Yeah,
you know,
no.
like, so these older generations that grew up, I mean, you go to church on Sunday, you have a very set, you know, like,
Mindset. Yeah.
well, it's closed-minded, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh
but
my
you're
God,
essentially
yes.
living in that bubble. You know, some
Yeah,
of
like
those
my-
people never left the fucking county.
Like
you
my
know?
grandma. Holy.
You know,
Racist.
but that's-
Racist.
That's like, look at our town right now. Like, I
Exactly,
complain
yeah.
anytime I got to go through that diamond, but like that thing was designed for horse and buggy.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like no
Exactly.
wonder it irritates me because we're not driving a horse and buggy. So like,
Yeah.
if it's not
It
going to
don't make
change and
sense, yeah.
update and come to the times of modern ways, it's like it's going to be a nuisance.
And it's so
Yeah.
hard that this town has literally been built around it. Like, there's really nothing we can even do at this point to
I get
change
the
it.
history of it, but you could
Yeah.
reroute traffic and keep the little diamond thing, keep a piece of the history.
Yeah.
But again,
Find
like I
a
said,
way.
We can make it
There's-
better for sure.
Yeah,
We
there's
could
always
make
a
it
way to
better.
do something. It's just no one wants to take the time and effort to do it.
well, and I'm all for preserving a ton of old morals from like the 30s and
Right.
40s and 50s, but there's some things that we are now just smarter about. You know, like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't have to be just one way anymore. Like,
Yeah. No.
Well, and didn't we hear they're gonna do construction over
I did hear that.
hope.
Yeah, which Nothing moves slower than fucking construction in Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? It's like molasses.
Yeah.
Right by the movie theater. It's
So,
horrible. Yeah.
but I was told that right there in front of like Casale's, where you have the parking lane and then obviously the medium and then the 2 lanes into the diamond, that's all going to be ripped out and rerouted. They're essentially going to do away with the diamond. But again, I only believe a small percentage of what I hear.
And just because you talk about it once doesn't mean your mind's not going to change down the road. Be like,
they might say, hey, you know what? It costs too much
idea.
money.
We scrapped it.
It's fine
We
the way
scrapped
it
it.
is.
Never mind.
Yeah.
We'll just repave.
Oh, we were just shooting blanks with that idea. Like, we were just throwing shit in the air, Like,
A lot of things sound good on paper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When it comes time to like finding people to do the work, and finding people that are motivated, that's why few things get done.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But I can only hope that, I don't know exactly how old you guys are, but we're here. We're not that old. So like I can only hope that we're doing a fucking podcast. I want to bring in some live music, which we have a little bit of. I don't know, you guys are like you're hip. What do you do? Like you're like, hey, it's fucking Friday night, we're off. Where are you going? What are you doing? Like,
I wish there was more areas in this town.
Yeah, it sucks because
it's always alcohol that we end up.
Yeah, we're hitting the bar.
For us, like we know when to stop ourselves, but there's other people that don't have that.
But it shouldn't be that's the
thing
to do.
Yeah, that should not
And
that's what I love living in Albuquerque.
I off their addiction. They're trying to get off pain meds or like the alcohol.
Yeah,
like we don't have I think we have one new arcade in town, but
who the hell wants to go to that at 22?
But wait,
it's so small.
I've seen things pop up, but I don't call a place that has skills machines an arcade.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I want to play. First of all, I would like a pool hall would be the sickest thing ever. Like, I love to play pool.
Laser tag, like stuff like that.
Yeah,
that would be interesting.
Like what, Altoona State College, if even that's far out of the way.
Well,
and if it's just a Friday night, we don't want to.
And that's to my point, especially because you could only hope most of us are. Civil servants. We fucking work most days, so it's like
they just closed Olympic Lanes. So there goes that.
Really?
Like for good.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. So now the only place is
we have a moment of silence for Olympic Lanes.
Straubs, right?
We only been there
brewery.
Man,
no, not the Straubs.
That just happened.
What? What's that? Gyra, right? Right by
Gyra.
Olympic Lanes.
I know, but the one that's open.
Oh, Gyra Lanes in Kersey is open.
Yeah.
It's still open, but it's now the only place.
Yeah. Well, they better step it up.
Yeah.
Make it the best place. That's the problem. Is like I said, there's enough.
They just keep taking stuff away.
There's enough potential.
And then it's like, well, what else are these people gonna do other than go drink?
Yeah.
And do
The
drugs?
problem is that I get I'm sure running a bowling alley is very expensive, and you probably don't make a ton of money.
Yeah.
Hard to keep it
They
afloat.
were bought out by Spitzer's.
Yeah.
The Spitzer's is expanding. The freaking car dealership.
Just what we need, more cars we can't afford.
Exactly.
We just drive by some really nice fucking cars I'll never fucking drive.
This town.
Yeah, thanks. Cool.
That'd be way more beneficial than a bowling alley or a laser tag or something like.
Or even going to the park, that reels into the whole police problem that we have in this area. We would be 16, 17.
Still going to parks.
Yeah, and they would harass us. They would be like, "You can't be here. You guys are causing trouble."
Where else?
Playing tag.
You want to come play?
Really?
We would literally be playing tag, and they would be like, "Do we have to search you guys? You guys causing a problem?" It's we're at a fucking park.
Right.
But
well, and you're not
want us to go?
10 years old to where you're out past curfew or need a parent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it would be 8, 9 o'clock. Yeah, okay, it's late, but it's a Friday night. There's no children here that have to worry about knocking over.
Well, and my biggest thing is I'm what else would you like me to be doing right now?
No, exactly.
Because every single one of them will bitch about, oh, stupid kids in their houses and playing video games all day, don't ever go outside and do anything.
Yeah, and then they want us to go outside, and
what do you
then we
want
get yelled at when we go outside.
Right. What is there to do? Please tell me about the hundreds of options that I have. So that was to reiterate my point. And I've talked to, obviously through the tattoo shop, we talked to a ton of people, and it's everybody that talks about doing something cool when they have free time and extra money, they're leaving town.
Yeah, you gotta leave anyway.
And it's I know Casale's every Friday night or Saturday night they might have a band, but
I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
not everyone's cup of tea.
Well, because sure I can listen to the music while I'm eating dinner, But like, can I really enthrall myself into the music? Because there's also grandparents having dinner over here. Their fucking kid's 10th birthday, you know, like, or it's like it's a family restaurant that has live music. That's a different thing than a live music venue or having live bands play. Like,
music you really want to hear.
Listen to the last podcast that I did, because I'll tell you where I come from. I come from a bunch of people chipping in together to rent a fucking abandoned fucking warehouse to have a punk show. You know what I mean? To throw 6 bands together, and everybody's so tight together that I'm exchanging sweat with everybody in the room. Like, that's the kind of stuff that we grew up listening to live local music, you know, and having like actual entertainment. And like I said, like I've been friends with the lead singer of that band now for fucking 15 years. Like, I mean, and they're, you know, they're some of the coolest people I've ever met, and knowing them has made me a better person. Like, it's like, so having that kind of youth, you know, and that kind of stuff to do, like, changes you. It makes you a better person. Like, maybe makes you want to start a band. Maybe makes you want to start, you know, doing comedy or start drawing or tattooing or something. So, like, you know, we have a lot of opportunity and potential to where, like, you know, we do a live event and showcase tattooing or live music or comedy. It's going to give people a reason to come here and also stay here on the weekends or when there's stuff that need, you know, like I would like to do like maybe Monday night do something, maybe do something Saturday night, you know, like and mix it up, you know, and do, like I said, just a little bit of everything. Like, maybe you're not interested in getting up and doing stand-up comedy, but I bet you'd sit there and watch other people do it. You know, like, it would be something to do, you know, like I said.
Something to do is the issue.
For the ages of like 14 to like maybe 19, 20. Like, I don't want to like cut it off at 18, because there are kids that are like 19, 20 that are going to college. They're still in town.
I'm 22 and still feel like a kid.
Right. Well, I'm fucking 35 and I'm still, like I said, like,
exactly. Like, times are different. Like, you shouldn't have to go to a bar to hang out with someone. Like, you shouldn't have to do this. And like, at least from my personal experience, when I was younger, when I was outside at the park, I wasn't smoking weed. But every time I got kicked out of the park and I had to go to a friend's house, guess what I was doing?
Right.
Smoking weed.
Well, and again, with even like the video games.
Like, other people are like, oh, try this one. Like, oh, if you're our friend, you're hanging out with us. It's the peer pressure, too. Like, a lot of our friends that we used to hang out with at the park have gone down completely different lives and very bad paths.
Yeah, we used to hang out with some doozies.
She sees a couple of them at work.
Little reunion.
I'm like, God.
You know, but as funny as that is, maybe they see you and they're like, oh shit, I used to hang out at the park with them.
Yeah.
Maybe I should get back to that mindset. You know what I mean? Like, fuck this shit. Like, why do I want to be sitting here feeling like this? Like, you know, I'd like to be leaving this place every night.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, you get to punch out and go home, you know? And
and I hear that from them so much. They'll be like, how's your day going? I was like, can't wait to get out of here. And they're like, well, at least you get to go home. And I was like, yeah, I know. It's like, damn, I know it sucks. Like, but I can't help you. I can only do so much while you're in here. Like, I can try and make your day a little better. I'm not saying I'm going to be able to do it. Yeah, I can tell you a joke. And I think that's my favorite thing is I go in and sit in the blocks and just talk to them. Because what else are they going to do?
Got any jokes? Let's hear a joke.
I don't got any jokes, unfortunately.
I've never told this one on the podcast, but I'll tell it right now. Actually, I got 2 loaded up that are not offensive or racist.
Oh, see, I only know.
The environment.
You could absolutely go that way. This is an unfiltered, uncensored
I only have
podcast.
one joke, and it's my friend told me it while we were working at McDonald's together, and I'm like, if you tell me a joke, I won't remember the joke. Like, someone's gonna be like, oh, let me tell you a joke, and I'm like, I can't give you one back because I don't know any. I know one. But
it's a doozy.
Why does Mexico never win the Olympics? Because everyone who can run, jump, and swim is in the U.S.
They're already here.
Yeah.
That is a good one. I do like that.
It's the only one I can remember. Don't know why. Don't know why.
It's easier.
Yeah, it's easy. That's why.
Well, you can take this one in, because again, this one's not offensive. I won't hurt anybody's feelings. Why don't they play cards in the jungle? There's too many fucking cheetahs.
Get it.
Good.
Got it.
Easy.
Keep that one in your mind.
Too many fucking cheetahs.
No, because she'll remember it, and I'll be like, he just told me a joke. Tell yours. Because I still won't remember.
Let me phone a friend real quick. Hold on, she got a joke loaded up.
Yeah, like my one freaking Walmart manager. I used to work at Walmart. I used to work at Walmart in Albuquerque, and he would come up to me and tell me jokes every single day, and I'm like, he's like, you never tell me any back. I was like, haven't got none. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. I suck.
Go home, work on some material. Write it down.
I need to write it down, keep it on my phone, so I can just pull it up.
You know what's funny? All Out West jokes are all like racist.
Yep.
Well, I can see
that's all
why.
he tells me is racist jokes.
Living close to the border,
It's kind of hard not to.
And the best kind of material is like, on your own people, on your own kind. I was expecting maybe some dead dad jokes. Maybe you might have one in the repertoire somewhere.
Honestly, I'll say the most outrageous things sometimes.
But see, this is where again, maybe you're not, maybe you're not a stand-up comedian, but see, like the way that have you ever watched Kill Tony?
Yeah.
Okay, let's start there.
Bits, yeah.
Okay, right. So like same thing. You could be on the panel because maybe your style of comedy is more in a reaction to what other people are saying. Like you got more of a roast style. Yeah. So this is what we're trying to set up here with live music. We got some comedy, similar to a Kill Tony format where you're looking at maybe just 60-second bits.
Yeah.
And this would be a great place right now where like this isn't some big city where you can really work out the bugs and you could fail a bunch of times and it's only going to be in front of a couple people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And again, I got like I didn't show you the basement because I didn't want you to think you're getting kidnapped. But in the basement, we've got like a little bit of a rehearsal set up there. And I mean, she's using the mic there, the stage mic, but we got like a drum set and a keyboard downstairs. Anybody that plays any musical instruments, we're looking to build a house band, and again, it's integrating stand-up comedy, a little bit of a podcast to where like after people that get pulled up to do comedy, then we sit down and talk to them just like we're doing right now. You know what I mean? Like, where'd you pull your material from? Any of that true? You know what I mean? Like, and talk to them for a little bit. One thing that I think will do better than fucking Kill Tony is that he gets too into the interview. I mean, like, we don't need 15 fucking minutes of interview, and only get 6 people up, But yeah, and that's the thing, like the crowd work and stuff like that. Like I think that we all have a good enough head on us that we could do some really, really funny stuff.
Yeah.
And I know enough musicians and like artists and all kinds of people like that. Like, tell me that wouldn't be something interesting. Like I said, if that's going on right downtown here, like people are like, I'm gonna go fucking check that out.
Yeah.
That sounds nuts. There's a live band that opens the show. Then they pull up, comedians. They pull names out of a fucking hat. Anybody that wants to sign up. And again, I wouldn't expect to get very many people signing up. So that's where we might have a handful of people that want to kind of try out some material in the meantime. And I can name drop him because he's actually been working with me a little bit. I haven't talked to him in a couple months. But have you ever heard of Bubba Bradley? Maybe not. Sorry. Again, this is where we need to change exposure. But he's actually from St. Mary's. He's a professional comedian. He's been featured on MTV. He actually is friends with a handful of people that have been guests on Kill Tony and things like that. So he's actually a professional comedian, but he works full-time as a truck driver, and he does all of his touring on his already scheduled route. So he's essentially getting paid to travel, and he can do his shit.
Cool.
That's
genius.
Yeah,
I'm like, man, that's the way to do it, dude. You're literally on tour. You know every fucking city you're going to be in. That's where I'm at. And all he has to do is hit up open mics, and then you just do your own advertising to reach out to comedy clubs and try to set shit up. So he has been dying to find a way to fucking perform at home. There's nowhere here. There's not a comedy club.
Nothing like that here.
And there would be, like it would take a little bit of time and effort to like start trying to build an audience. Like, hey, would you come to a comedy show? Would you be interested in seeing a comedy show?
I'll just start forcing people.
No, yeah.
You want it done? I know how to force people pretty good.
Yeah. You see these cuffs?
You see these cuffs? Let's go.
You got a cert team.
If not, they're getting put on.
So like.
And I'm not gonna ask you if they're loose.
With him being an already established comedian, then he could essentially be our opener or our closing comedian. He could be our professional comedian on the panel periodically that would bring in his own audience and bring a little bit of legitimacy. Because again, we're nobodies, but I think we're pretty fucking funny. We could build an audience.
I think me and her are hilarious.
And I think local showcase is the biggest thing. It's like, who knows? There could be somebody right across the street that is undiscovered talent that might be hilarious. Or maybe,
never know.
And anybody that watches podcasts or anybody that watches comedy probably sits there and thinks, I wonder if I could do that. Or I think I could do that. Or I know I could do that.
Yeah, but they don't know where to start because there's nothing around here like that. It's hard.
Exactly.
It is.
Like, you're either getting sucked into a factory here.
Well, I've got the means and I've got the ideas to where, like, again, like I just got to go down and speak with the venue, which again, now every time I talk to somebody about this and I get 1 or 2 people more excited about it, that's again, one or 2 more people involved that when I go down to the venue and I say I want to put this together, this is how it can benefit us in the town. Because again, I could just pay them the X amount of dollars and rent the space and do my own thing and take all of the profits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to do it big and bring in some
Get the
sponsors,
community
maybe bring
involved,
some
exactly.
local,
Yeah.
like find a caterer,
Because
find
then we
people
can
to
get, like,
provide food.
vendor, exactly.
Because I also found out that, like, you just, as far as the law, because you want to provide a little bit of alcohol, because liquid encouragement helps
Yes.
people perform, helps people laugh. You do BYOB, you don't have to have a liquor license, and then you sell mixers. And people are responsible for getting themselves home responsibly or having a DD,
Or
and
a
then
DDD,
right,
designated drunk driver.
you know, you know.
She's mine.
So it wouldn't be that hard. I've ran the numbers a handful of times, ticket sales, all that. It would bring in a good bit of money for them, for the venue. We'd be able to pay, like, we'd have a couple servers, maybe, have a
Mhm.
small audience, start with maybe trying to just book 10 or 20, size crowd,
If you
50
could-
people would be a small comedy show. I mean, even 50 would be a lot.
Yeah.
Like some comedy clubs only have fucking 10, 20 people watching a comedy show.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
And again, sometimes that's to the betterment of the person that's performing, because if you're trying to work something out, it's almost better if nobody's there.
Yeah, no one's there to watch
And that's where, like, having a rehearsal place down here, I was thinking, like, maybe every Wednesday just having, like, some kind of, like, open mic in my basement.
Yeah.
Anybody that's interested, come down and work out some material just in front of the people that are behind the scenes,
Yeah.
write some material.
Speaking of jokes, though, you have a dead dad one for you.
Oh.
Sort of.
Oh,
I just thought of it.
Hit us with it.
I go graduate in a month, and I'm like, how? Because I don't really want to go do my graduation. I thought my dad would be there, so I'm like, what the fuck?
Burn.
And I'm like, my dad will be because in Albuquerque, there's not a street corner you can walk on where you don't smell drugs. Like, I feel like I could be one of the dogs. I'd be sniff them out.
Yeah.
My
Oh,
dad
God.
will be the drug on the corner that
No.
is closest to my venue. I was like, whatever drug that is, he is there.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I was like,
love
so
it.
still there. I was like, still there, just not in the way I want him to. Form of drugs. Gotta laugh at it.
I love it. And again, like, they call that, like, a self-deprecating style of comedy, to where, like, again, you can laugh at your own trauma, you can laugh at your own
Oh, I'm great at that.
pitfalls and your flaws.
For
Like,
sure,
that's
yeah.
it's such a good point of comedy, And again, there might only be a small percentage of people who get it and understand it and think it's funny, but, like, building an audience, like, it's something, like I said, you have the personality for it already. Like you said,
I know when people when I talk like when people who don't know me, like, I don't tell a whole lot of people like about what my dad did when I was younger about him robbing a bank. But when I do tell people, they just look at me like I'm nuts. I'm like,
do you know that story at all?
I know it because he picked me up right afterwards.
Oh my God.
I will tell you the great story.
I was in the getaway vehicle, actually.
Yeah, I was in the
I
getaway
have a
vehicle.
bag of money to make sure I didn't spill.
Hey, get yourself something nice.
Really?
You want to?
You're kidding. Oh my God.
My
Definitely
dad,
went to McDonald's though. After
my
that,
dad
yeah.
robbed a bank in Johnsonburg,
Wow.
right next to my preschool.
Wow.
I was not at preschool at the time. I did have preschool that day, but I went up to the babysitters, which was like 2 streets up. After he got done robbing the bank, he came and picked me up. Then we had to drive to St. Mary's because my mom was working, and so we had to pick her up. I don't remember much. I guess I blocked out some of this day because it obviously traumatic. But I guess we went to Walmart first. I got a bunch of toys. Kudos to me, and the cops let me keep them.
Ah, I was gonna ask.
Even better, they let me keep them. But my mom was working at Straw Brewery at the time, and I was definitely a daddy's little girl. So, like, I had to always be around my dad. And, like, if he left me alone, I was watching and waiting for him to come. I was always watching and waiting for him to come back. Well, he takes me in, and then I guess he tells my mom he has to go get something from the car. So I'm looking out the window, just waiting. Bunch of cop cars show up, pointing guns at my dad, telling him to get on the ground. I was like, what the? I'm now bawling hysterically. My mom is fucking screaming her head off. What the fuck?
That had to be terrifying.
The cop who arrested him was the chief of police at the time as well. Also, knew him personally, because that is one of my mom's, like, best friends.
Oh my God, small towns.
Yeah, small towns. I used to go up and play with their dogs all the time. I still know where they live. We're all friends still. Like, hey, you arrested my dad, but it is cool. But freaking, yeah, went and picked me up afterwards. Freaking, that was great.
It was fun
I remember the first time I visited him in the county jail, the one and only time, because I was very mad at him. I refused to talk to him. I banged my hand against the glass at him. I was so mad.
Did he go to jail?
I was gonna say,
yeah, he went to jail. Yeah, he did not last very. Yeah, no, he did not last very long with getting away from it.
That's my like.
Yeah,
well, so he went probably upstate for that.
Yeah,
huh?
he ended up going upstate for it, because it was also armed robbery.
Oh yeah, duh, that's a whole different thing.
With a water gun.
Oh no! What?
With my water gun.
Then how can they charge him with that?
Because you still portrayed it as
You
a gun.
should have got charged.
You portrayed it as an
He
actual.
received a stolen squirt gun.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, god damn it. I almost got charged.
That's actually.
Imagine they fucking
Worse,
log it in
I
evidence and you never see your squirt gun again. I'd be like, hey man,
I-
I'm supposed to go play
So
with the
we're
boys
talking
on
just like
Saturday.
just a little.
Yeah, like just a squirt gun, but you portrayed it as a
Well,
gun.
what did he do? Like just.
Yep, just had it. My dad was not very smart about robbing this bank. One,
I mean,
he,
at least.
he robbed the bank he banked at.
Hey, John. No, I'm here
Yeah.
on business.
Yeah.
I'm not John. Today.
He also had.
John.
My dad is from the South, so he has a very thick Southern accent. You don't hear a lot of those
Right.
around here.
Pick it out from a mile away.
I also remember when we were driving up to St. Mary's coming from Johnsburg, there was a cop on the one little turnaround. Remember that? I was like, I seen you going to St. Mary's, you dumbass.
Yeah.
And then when I visited him in state prison, my mom did not know I was asking this question, and then I got yelled at for it. But I was like, can I get my squirt gun back? And they're like, no, it's evidence.
Oh,
I was like, what the
no.
fuck? What do you mean?
Man, did you ever get it back?
No.
The case is
Unfortunately
closed.
not.
Give her a squirt gun back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was 5.
Yeah.
I was 5.
It's a part of her family history.
And then, like, you can look up, obviously go on the internet. You can probably find out stuff about everyone nowadays. So I was able to find, like, my dad's past freaking...
Oh, you could probably find the news articles and everything, I'm sure.
Yeah,
if you
well,
really wanted to.
yeah, looked up those, and I was like, oh, I wonder what your past records look like. Because
Oh, no.
I can only look at the ones in Pennsylvania off a PA docket.
Right.
Come to find out, he did this again years ago. Failed miserably that time. I'm like, you robbed a bank once. You robbed a bank once and it didn't work out, and you went and did it again and thought it would work out again. I was
So
like, you didn't even last 24 hours.
You didn't even do better.
I was like, you suck at this.
Didn't learn anything?
Yeah.
I know. It's
So wait, were you in the car the first time or the second time?
the second time.
Okay, so maybe he thought, well, if I have her with me this time and I have her gun, I'll do much better.
Yeah.
What
no.
did he use the first time? A real gun?
I have no idea. This was when he was like 20 something.
See, maybe he
years
didn't have
old.
a weapon, so he's like, that's the difference. Now I got a squirt
He's like,
gun.
now they'll take me seriously.
I'm gonna go somewhere where they know me.
Yeah,
they know
I'm
I'm
like,
fucking
what?
around.
They know I mean business.
And I asked him about
I
it.
have an account here, damn it.
I called him after I figured out, and I was like, I have a serious question for you, Dad. He was like, what? I was like, you robbed a bank when you were like 20 years old. I was like, it didn't work out then. What was your thinking when you went to rob the second one? He's like, your mom was bitching about money. I was like, nice. I was like, really? That was your issue? I was like, what the?
Hey, happy wife, happy life. If she needs money, at least he did the right thing. And I will say too, if you got another short gun, at least he didn't go in there with the intention to hurt anybody.
No.
Yeah, no, he had no
Exactly.
He
intention.
just wanted his money.
Yeah, just
you
wanted
know.
the money.
And
Like,
again, social pressures. Like,
Yeah.
even if you're not a drug addict, if you just are financially fucked, and you need out of
well,
a
and
jam.
that's what I didn't understand. My dad worked as an iron worker. Like, he could go on to any job site. Like, my dad wasn't an idiot.
Right, he had skill.
My dad had so much potential. I'm like, damn, it sucks that drugs stole your life. You had so much potential as a person. He could walk on a job site with a crew. They could already have a crew. And he'd talk the boss into firing the crew he's already got to hire my dad instead. And I'm like, what are you doing? I was like, you were making good money. He's worked in just about all 50 states. He's worked in Albuquerque. I was like,
Well,
what?
see, I say that a lot. I mean, a lot of times it's in a humorous manner to where it's not taken very seriously. But it's like, you take somebody who's, whether they're a drug dealer or what, or even a drug addict.
Some of them are smart as
Them
hell.
motherfuckers have had to manage an addiction. Like, that's like
And
managing
work
your
at the
life
same
and death.
time.
And a lot of them, right,
Yeah.
I was like,
managing an income, right, and keeping people well. So it's like, you take some of them people out of the addict situation, put them like on the stock market, or put them, what I
Yeah.
mean, like in.
Excelling,
excel, yeah.
excelling, extremely. I'm like, you had so much potential. What the hell were you doing?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
He
with,
has
like,
He's like, I don't know. I was like, you're an idiot. I was like, I love you, but you're dumb.
well, some people, again, maybe from his childhood early on.
Yeah, I
if
learned
you
a
don't-
lot.
if you don't develop a real strong quality of life and you just think, fuck it, you know what I mean? Like, you don't value your skill, you don't value your life. I mean, like, we 3:30. Okay, we'll get it. We're good. But yeah, so like even like we were talking about it before. Like, I mean, growing up, because I don't know what time period. How old was your dad? What year was he born? Do you know?
57.
So 50s, 50s. So what did you say? 60s for easy math. 60s, 70s. It's okay. 80s, he robbed a bank in the 80s.
Yeah.
So that was probably pre-internet, maybe. Do you think pre-internet?
I feel like he could have got away
Maybe.
with it better then.
Well, it's like a different time. We got to realize too, like maybe.
Well, that one was back in 2008. I don't know the other one. This one was from a whole different.
But you said if he was in his 20s, I was just thinking like maybe if that was like, because I mean, depending on how old he was, like 70s, 80s, that's a little bit of a different time. Like, you know, you go into a bank and rob it, you know, it's a little bit of a different thing.
Yeah.
You know, now there's cameras everywhere. Like, I would never fucking go think like I'm gonna get away with robbing a bank or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you'd be nuts.
I know.
In the 70s, I would humor the idea.
But
I would
kudos to him for
consider
thinking it was even
nowadays,
possible in the 2000s, trying to keep the dream
I'll take my
alive.
Yeah.
You know.
And like
instead,
some of the some of the COs I work with remember him in there because they've been there that long.
Wow.
And they're like, must have been a good guy. I don't really remember him that much. Like, it's the ones you don't remember that usually are the good ones. The
Very
ones
true.
you remember, the ones
Very
that caused
true.
you difficulty.
Right.
I'm like, what are you? I'm like, yeah, robbed a bank. And then the one guy I work with, he's like, let's go rob a bank. And I'm like, I have a feeling I don't have the mindset for that.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't come from a good line of
It's
bank
not my
robbing.
genes.
Yeah.
I was like,
I won't get away with it.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm probably the dumbest one to freaking do it. I was like,
Working.
Well, and I
Yeah.
appreciate your mindset too, because I'm the kind of person like if I try something and it doesn't work out, I'm gonna try something differently. So like, you know, I look at like people who are like career thieves and then, you know, you got caught.
try
like-
again.
It's like maybe you're just not good at stealing stuff.
No,
Maybe try a
exactly.
different level.
Yeah, let's
Maybe
try a different thing.
Yeah, different avenue of crime, maybe. You
Yeah.
know, maybe murder's your thing. You know, I don't know. You know.
I feel like you should have tried something different.
You know, it's like it's like.
Stand on the corner.
Yeah, no, exactly. Work like a real man. Like, come on.
He's freaking something else. I love my dad. Like, honestly, I'm like, I can't picture my dad any other way than being the person he was. Like, if my dad was normal, I don't know if I would have liked him all that much.
Yeah.
Because my mom's normal. I love my mom, but holy Jesus.
Well, and for whatever reason, him being who he was is the reason that you are who you are.
Yeah.
So it's like, boy, if he was somebody totally different,
I could
like,
be totally different.
imagine if he was Daddy Warbucks and he was clean cut, you know, and all this, you might have been the fuck up. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
You might have
more
been
than
the one
likely I
that
would have been the fuck
absolutely-
up.
absolutely downward spiraled, and that generation would have been the one. You know what I mean? So it's like you just never know. Maybe his sacrifices are the only reason that you're going to excel, and maybe when you have a child, that
Yeah.
fucking kid might really, really go.
Yeah.
You know, so again, we just don't know why things happen, but you know, at the end of the day,
the strict parents that create the not the worst kids, but like the
They're-
most
Rebellious,
the
yeah.
rebellious ones,
Well,
the ones that go off trying because
Right.
they
Yeah.
never got the chance.
Yeah,
or
'cause
like not
even-
the chance, but like
Even as a teenager, I
They were
wasn't
so
really
controlled.
rebellious.
no, exactly.
Like, at all.
well, and unfortunately, trauma breeds some of the best people. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like
Yeah.
you
I
grew
make
up-
fun of my trauma daily.
So I mean, like you grew up with things that, like I said, would have put a lot of people in the dirt, but you survived it, and now you're a better person because
Yeah.
of it. So like a
Yeah.
lot of us, you know, wouldn't be who we are if we wouldn't have experienced trauma, and if we wouldn't have all had this trauma that we experienced as kids, we might not even be sitting in the same room right now having the same conversation.
Yep.
It's like we'd be on a completely different timeline. All fucking one. How many people are sitting here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. All have different traumas that put us in this exact same spot right now, and we're having this conversation that a lot of people are afraid to have.
No,
So.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, thank God for every fucking terrible thing that happened
Yeah.
to us.
Thank
You
you.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for my mental illness. I also make fun of that.
Do better every day. That's all we can do. All right, let's wrap it up. I got to go do a tattoo. You
no,
going to work?
I am off, thank God.
Oh, cool.
I'm going to
Well,
work.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much for your
Of
time. This is
course.
really interesting, and you're
you
welcome
for
back
having us.
anytime.